What is ripping? I am Gabriel Morency, the pimps, the players, the hustlers, the people that bust them, and everybody else in between, from California to Costa Rica, Montreal to Missouri. Are we ready to motherfucking do this thing? It's football eve, as this is the final Friday night before the rest of our lives begins. All right, let's do this thing. It's the late night anger management class. I am Gabriel Morency. I'll be with you for the next couple of hours or so. Big man on campus will join me around 11 o'clock Eastern. We'll talk some college football with the big man. We'll talk a little NFL football as well, but we'll go college style. We're hitting the campus with the big man on campus. Let's rock and roll. Let's see, the chat begins to fill up here this evening. We appreciate everybody joining in tonight. So it's going to be pick night tonight. We're not fucking around, all right? We're not fucking around, although we will be keeping our eye on the football games that are going on right now as we speak. I've got a piece of Oklahoma State and South Alabama to go over the number. That's not happening. The total was 67.5. The new total, 27.5. Second half here. Second half has just started. I got a piece of Oklahoma State minus 29.5. Second half line was minus 13.5. So I got a little bit of value. I played this right before the end of the first half in game. So we'll keep our eye on this. I've got a piece of the Purdue Boilermakers, and I didn't get the love and the fascination with the Ohio Bobcats coming into tonight's game, man. It's a fucking MAC team, all right? And I got to tell you, I don't think there's anybody tuning in right now. I don't think there's anybody tuning in right now that has watched as much motherfucking MAC football as I have over the years, all right? Maybe my boy, big man on campus, because he says he likes watching crappy football. So, I've watched a lot of MAC football, all right? MAC teams don't beat Big Ten teams. It doesn't happen. It never happens. It won't happen. It never happens. And I never thought, you know what else never fucking happens? Me saying one of my best bets of the day tomorrow are the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. On Red Heat and Rage Radio on the Fantasy Sports Radio Network, our producer, our boy Chris Bovana, he told me the only thing that Rutgers are good for are giving people STDs. Yet, their football team has improved, as we saw last Friday night. It's amazing how time flies, doesn't it, man? We're all waiting for football to start. Now it's here. It's amazing. Feels like 2 days ago, I was at the D doing Friday night. Last Friday night, I was in Vegas doing a radio show with Scotty Farrell. I was thinking about that today. Well, I was walking down the street wearing a starter jacket, and I was still motherfucking cold. It's football weather, man. It's here. It's here. Oh, so the Ohio Bobcats punch one in, 34-14. Son of a bitch. I wanted to get in on the second half over of this game, but I didn't. We're hosting 22 million shows a day, I got to get adjusted to getting my plays in. FIU beats Alcorn State 17-10. They were laying 19.5 when it was all said and done. It was as low as 13.5. It was played on a neutral field in Birmingham. 17-10 final score. Butch Davis wins his first game with FIU. They don't cover. I was on FAU last week. They got fucking destroyed by UCF. That Memphis UCF game got canceled. So I expect Oklahoma State to, tattoo them again in the second half here, or at least pull away. We'll keep our eye on this, but it's week one of the NFL. Season started off with a shock. Started off with a shock last night. Alex Smith throws 4 touchdown passes. Kareem Hunt, 3 touchdowns. And, little Tommy boy didn't look too happy at the end of the night, now did he? That's the thing with Brady. You figure a guy that has hundreds of millions of dollars, fucking Giselle, and 5 Super Bowl rings would be a happier dude, but he's just such a spoiled, arrogant motherfucker. And it pisses me off because I'm a Michigan fan, and I've been a Michigan fan since the 70s. So obviously, I remember Tom Brady as a kid, skinny kid, being humble and all that. Listen, he is a competitor. Nobody likes to lose. I get it. You have to respect that about him. You have to respect that about him, but he looks like a fucking little kid. You know, didn't get his dessert. Fuck. Didn't get his dessert. They play the Saints next Sunday, but I'm in an NFL mood right now. Yeah, little Tommy boy, Mario Martinez, little Tommy. Oh, little Tommy didn't get his dessert. See, he's sitting there. You know, like every time there's an incomplete pass, he looks at the ref like, hey, come on, man. I couldn't have possibly thrown an incomplete pass. It's amazing how the tide turns, how quickly it turns. Last night in the first fucking quarter, people were talking about how the Patriots are going to go 16-0. I saw gifs and shit about, Magic being a defensive coordinator in the NFL now. And then all day today, I speak to so-called experts. All day today, I got people coming up to me like on the air, off the air, even Patriot fans. I got a feeling this is Brady's last year. They're going to push him out for Garoppolo. It's not Brady's last year in New England. People need to chill the fuck out. The last, I'm sure you were sick of hearing this, but the last 3 times they lost their opening game, they won the Super Bowl. Our boy Bretsky in the house. Good to see you, Bretsky, big CFL. Bretsky's a good guy. We got Jazz throwing it down. Our boy The Truth in the house. Now, I look in the chat here, and I don't know why you guys are arguing about Justin Bieber, but I don't want to be part of it. Fuck Justin Bieber. This is a Justin Bieber-free zone. We haven't kicked anybody out of this chat yet. I don't even know how to do it. I guess our boy Zach Jones is probably the moderator, and give it up for Zach. But yeah, you guys, anyone that likes, stop praising, no Bieber talk. No, Biebs is not cool. Biebs is not cool, but now we move on. So, our boy Brooks in the house. Bruce Chad. Amar Bossy. Jordan. Film Game Time Decisions in the old Don Best Studios. Really, huh? Well, good to see you, Jordan. I remember my boy Bovenizer, Johnny B. John Bovenizer. And what's the kid, the straight edge kid that's a Jag fan? Fuck. What's his name? He was the camera guy too. What's his name? He follows me on Twitter. I see him on Twitter sometimes. Forget the kid's name, but good to see you, Jordan. And Stephen Ferrer says, I don't have any knowledge. That's debatable, but I can't disagree with you. I can't disagree with you. So, we're on the clock. We're on the clock right now. We got to get our picks in for the Las Vegas Westgate Super Contest. And we got a couple of entries, actually, so we can't screw around. We'll share with you some of the thoughts. We've got like 7-8 games circled. We'll blast through every National Football League game. I'll give you my opinion. I'll throw out a final score. Touchdown, Oklahoma State. And then 11 o'clock, we'll talk some college football with the big man on campus. So let's jump in right now. Let's take a look. Let's start off with the Arizona Cardinals and the Detroit Lions. We've got some line movement going on here. Arizona Cardinals now up to -2.5 in this game. The total remains 48. This is a tough game. I do like Arizona in this game. I think Arizona are a better football team than the Detroit Lions are. But this game totally has the feel of a game that's going to come right down to the wire. I think if you're a teaser player, I couldn't disagree with taking the Detroit Lions and teasing them up to plus 9.5 on a 7-point teaser. Oh, and for the record, is the Alouettes and the BC Lions starting the Canadian Football League right now. I'm from Montreal originally, and one thing I know is the Alouettes never motherfucking win in Vancouver. BC have lost 3 straight games coming off a bye week. I think BC beat them down. But Arizona Cardinals, listen, anyone that watched my presentation at the IFBC knows I'm extremely high on the Arizona Cardinals coming into this year. So if I'm not high on the Cardinals coming into the year, and I actually did bet that future over 8.5 as well. I bet it 2 days ago. All right, I took it yesterday, actually. You know, they don't need to win this football game to get the 9 wins. But I think the Arizona Cardinals have a legitimate opportunity to start the season 4-0. You know, they play at Detroit on Sunday, and David Johnson's going to be the best player on the football field. All right, so that's one of our starting points here. Why I like Arizona. David Johnson is going to be the best player on the football field as a whole. Last year, the Detroit Lions allowed opposing quarterbacks to complete 72% of their passes, which I believe was actually an NFL record. And they really didn't do anything to address it. Now, it's not as if, though, it's because their players in their defensive backfield are terrible. But the problem with the Detroit Lions is they get 0 fucking pass rush. All right? And they didn't do anything to address that. You know, they don't have any pass rush, and opposing quarterbacks are able to just sit there and pick them apart. I'm very high on a big bounce-back situation this year with Carson Palmer. Love the way he looks. Love the zip on the football. Larry Fitzgerald, you know, the guy's ageless. And, you know, the last 2 years, he's had more catches than he's ever had in his career. And they're smart. They're extending his career by putting him in the slot and putting him on the inside. And now with Brown and Nelson, and you got the speedsters, you know, Fitzpatrick is feasting. He's got linebackers on him and shit, you know, like, you know, and he's still a damn good wide receiver, but they can't put their best cornerback on him because then it's going to kill them and expose them going deep. So Arizona have a lot of little tricky ways of beating you. I believe that Bruce Arians last year was kind of an embarrassment for Arizona. Even though they weren't terrible, they just didn't have a good year. Everything fell apart for them. They had a lot of injuries. I think Arians had the heart attack, basically. You know, the guy wasn't well. I expect Arizona to bounce back in a big way, and I think they're able to get it done in this football game. But it's far from a lock, you know. It's a leap of faith play. You know, the Detroit Lions are a mediocre team. They're an 8-8 caliber team. Like I said, to me, this game is a 27-24 style game, 30-24. I think the Arizona Cardinals are going to win this game 30-24. I think it's going to go over. I think you could tease either side. I mean, you get the Detroit Lions at plus 9.5 over 41. I think that's a nice 2-team 7-point teaser right there. But I do believe that the Arizona Cardinals. I do believe the Arizona Cardinals are going to win this football game. Now, as far as Carson Palmer, as far as Carson Palmer is concerned, Carson Palmer was fine down the stretch. See, people think in packs, and Carson Palmer's old and he sucks. Yeah, the last 5 games of the year last year, he had 11 touchdown passes and 3 interceptions. He threw the ball too much. He has dead arm. He's a little bit older. But the guy's, the guy's not fucking partying all night in Vegas every night, Carson Palmer, right? The guy's in good physical condition. You know, his arm was just a little bit beat up. They told him last year, that's why in the last 5 games, Bruce Arians, a smart guy. Arians a better coach than Caldwell. And we'll get to Arizona's defense in a second. But Carson Palmer stopped throwing the ball on Wednesdays last year. Over the last, 5-6 weeks of the season, they realized, they were like, you know, your arm's tired. You know, you're throwing the ball too much in practice. You know, why? You know the plays. So, you know, stop throwing the ball so much. And then suddenly he had the zip again. And he had 11 touchdowns and 3 interceptions in the last 5 weeks of the season. And then in the offseason, they figured it out. They said, how do you spend your days normally in the summer? And he said, normally I throw 300, 500 footballs a day every day in the summer. And they said, don't do it. You know, don't throw footballs at all. They said, you want to throw a bit, keep the arm loose, but don't do the repetition throwing shit. We want you to be fresh. So it's the same thing. Carson Palmer barely practices now. And I was reading with Arians, and Arians was stating, now it's more than just Wednesday. Even Thursdays, we don't want him doing too much. He has nothing to prove. They just want him fresh and ready for Sundays, and I think he's going to be ready for Sundays. And then conversely, on the other side of the football, the Arizona Cardinals, they're an elite defense. They led the National Football League in sacks last year. They're both top 10 against the run and against the rush. I just think they're a better football team than Detroit. I think they're going to win this football game, 30-24, final score. Arians is one of the best coaches in the league. Arians is one of the best coaches in the league. I think Arizona wins. Now, the Atlanta Falcons and the Chicago Bears, big line movement in this game right now. It's down to 6. Seems like a lot of people are trying to talk themselves into reasons as to why the Chicago Bears are going to cover this football game. And I brought up a stat. This is courtesy of Mark Lawrence's playbook, his database. But the last 17 times that a Super Bowl loser, opened up the following season on the road, they've only won twice. They're 2-15 straight up. A pretty daunting number. The last 17 times the Super Bowl loser opened up the following season on the road, they've only won twice. That puts the Atlanta Falcons in this situation. Now, the Atlanta Falcons are also in another ugly situation, if you like the trends, in that the Falcons didn't win a game in the preseason. And the last 16 teams that didn't win a game in the preseason are 4-12 in week 1 of the regular season against the spread. Puts the Atlanta Falcons in another very negative situation. Yet, just like I say, fuck the real situation from the Jersey Shore, I say fuck this situation as well. I think it's a leap of faith if you're trying to take the Chicago Bears here. And I had a spirited debate with my buddy Cam Stewart about this earlier in the evening. I think there'll be moments where the Chicago Bears will look good. I think the Chicago Bears will put a couple of points up on the board on the Atlanta Falcons. But over the course of 60 minutes, the Chicago Bears going to be able to really contain the Falcons all that much and all the weapons that they have? Do you really trust Mike Glennon to trade touchdowns with Matt Ryan for 60 minutes? I sure as hell don't. Now, I don't have the Falcons. I'm gonna play the Falcons in some money line parlays and stuff. Maybe put them in teasers. Touchdown BC. I'm gonna put them in some. Some money line. I'm not worried. The Bears aren't winning. The Bears aren't winning this game. The only question is, do they cover the number? But we've got 3 angles here for you if you want. I've got 3 angles here, as I stated. Chicago Bears, since 1984, going all the way back to Van Halen, 1984. The Chicago Bears, since 1984, have only lost a home opener. They go for 2 and they get it. 8-0 BC. 9 minutes left in the first quarter. It was their second drive. BC got the ball, Montreal got the ball, and then BC got it, and BC scores. Congratulations, Lou, on Keselowski, plus 450. Good job. A little Xfinity Series action. All right, so as I was saying, the Chicago Bears since 1984, they've only lost 3 home openers by more than 7 points 3 times. That's a long time going back to 84 as well. Good year, 1984. Before I was old, bitter, and jaded. So as I mentioned, you've got the last 17 times the Super Bowl loser has opened up the season on the road. They've only won twice straight up. You've got the last 16 teams to go winless in the preseason are 4-12 against the spread in week 1. And you've got the Chicago Bears only losing by more than 7 points 3 times since 1984. Those are the positives if you like the Chicago Bears. The negatives, if you like the Chicago Bears, Mike Glennon is the quarterback. Kevin White and Kendall Wright are the number 1 and number 2 wide receivers. And the opponent happened to be a pissed-off Atlanta Falcon football team with Matt Ryan, Tevin Coleman, Devontae Freeman, Julio Jones, Mohamed Sanu, Taylor Gabriel, and Austin Hooper. And, oh, yeah, the Chicago Bears secondary motherfucking blows. Like, they're not going to be able to stop Julio Jones. They're not going to be able to stop Freeman. I think Atlanta are going to pull away. I'm talking to myself in liking Atlanta a lot here. Like you said, I like Sheldon. I like you, Sheldon. 21-21. They're the Bears. Exactly. They're the Bears. It's not a best bet. You can't, laying 6 on the road. But I wouldn't go anywhere near the motherfucking Bears. The Chicago Bears on Sunday are like a real bear in real life. I'm not going anywhere near them. All right? But I just gave you some good numbers. If you like the Bears and you want to, if somebody tells you, you know what, you're a fucking idiot for taking the Bears. First off, don't let anybody fucking tell you anything. Everybody's an expert here. Oh, everybody knows this and that. Everyone, you're wrong. Yeah, because everybody last night said Alex Smith was going to throw 4 fucking touchdown passes. Nobody knows jack shit. Shut the fuck up. Respect people's opinions, respect people's bets, and, let them play the game, all right? Unfortunately, they don't cash bets by guys in fucking message boards saying it's a shit pick or a winning pick. What's going on, Alfred? Exactly. Amar knows what's up. It's week motherfucking 1. It's like week 5 of the preseason. Nobody knows. Oklahoma State's starting to rack it up a little bit. Good stuff. Can they score another 34 and get us over the number? No. But we'll keep our eye on it. Colorado Rockies already up 1-0 on the Dodgers. But, yeah, so I gave you a lot of information on this game. Where's that fuckhead said, oh, this guy has no knowledge? I have more knowledge in my dick, Steve Fear, than you have in your fucking head. I have more knowledge, but I might not have cable. I'm looking up. I'm like, where's the game? Fuck. Twix! They were all Twix. It was a setup. All right. Too early in the night to get this upset. It is the late night anger management class, though. I don't know. I blame Hurricane Irma. And with the football season here, I need some new batteries, man. See, right now I'm stuck on like the Space Network. Fuck. I see Denzel Washington here. Earlier today, I got stuck on CNN. I literally couldn't change a channel. Like when, the batteries are done and you take them out, you switch sides and stuff. I've been doing that over and over, and it sort of worked, but I'm running out of options. My TV just fucking got all weird. It's probably TSN's shitty fucking feed. I blame TSN. I won't worry about it for a minute because I'm going to fucking throw this remote control. All right, now we're on to the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals. I like the Cincinnati Bengals to get it done. Welcome to the jungle. I'm going into the jungle, Axl Rose style. I know that Harbaugh's a great coach. I've got a lot of respect for Harbaugh as a coach. Me and my boy Babano, a.k.a. Ian Cameron, who's in the chat right now, had a spirited disagreement about Marvin Lewis and Andy Dalton the other night. It's like I got protective. Like, I rip Andy Dalton all the time. So, Babano thought I'd be down with the Dalton bashing. But Dalton's like family or something, Babano. So I was like, you can't say that about him. Only I can say that shit about him. And then I started busting real fucking knowledge out. I shook Babano's cage a little bit by reminding Babano that Andy Dalton's like 56 and fucking 35 as a starting quarterback. Andy Dalton's like 56 and 35 as a starting quarterback in the National Football League. Andy Dalton just spits out 10 and 6s and 9 and 7s. Yeah, he's my redheaded stepchild best gambler. I like the Bengals in this game. Joe Flacco hasn't practiced at all, man. Joe Flacco didn't play in one preseason game. The guy's got a motherfucking bad back. All right, I don't like betting on quarterbacks with unibrows or bad backs. He's got them both. So, I respect Baltimore. I respect Harbaugh. But it's not the same Baltimore team from years ago anymore. And you look at them on offense, and the Cincinnati Bengals defense, even without Vontaze Burfict out there, you look at the Baltimore Raven offense, who's legitimately scaring anybody here? All right, you got Mike Wallace. Mike Wallace is going to go deep. Rashad Perryman's done jack shit in a couple of years in the NFL. You got Macklin, you got Danny Woodhead. They're sort of like a journeyman NBA team. You know what I mean? Like I'm not saying the Ravens are going to be terrible, but, we talk about it. These division games, history repeats itself in these division games. And we've been over this a couple of times. The Cincinnati Bengals, they own these guys. All right? They've beaten them 4 out of the last 5 times they played. They've beaten them 5 out of the last 7 times they played. Lewis is 5-2 against the spread in the last 7. The Cincinnati Bengals are 4-0 against the spread the last 4 times they opened up the season at home against a division rival. Would I like it a little bit better if John Ross was there? Yeah, I guess, to stretch the field a little bit more. But I don't know. Can you miss something you never had? I don't have a problem with Boyd. A.J. Green's going to be healthy. And the thing with Andy Dalton is Andy Dalton struggled a little bit last year, but it was totally 100,000% correlated with A.J. Green's health. When A.J. Green was on the field, Andy Dalton was a good quarterback. When he wasn't on the field, he wasn't such a great quarterback. But you've got Eifert, you've got Boyd, A.J. Green, who's might be the most underrated player in the NFL. The thing with Green is, you know what they're going to do. He goes deep, yet they still manage to do it. Like, it's amazing to me, this guy. A.J. Green really is a motherfucking stud. Like, he really is. He's like Julio Jones good type shit. Like, he really is. He flies under the radar because he plays with the Bengals. It's all about Beckham and the hair and the one-handed catches and shit. I'd rather have A.J. Green on my team than Odell Beckham. They've got a lot of weapons for Dalton to work with. Now, not even getting into the backfield now with Jeremy Hill, with Bernard, and, with Joe Mixon. And Mixon's always a threat to break one. You saw Kareem Hunt have a lot of success coming out of the gate. I'm very intrigued to see how Dalvin Cook does on Monday night. And, Mixon, all these other rookie running backs. We've seen recently rookie running backs have a lot of success, although I don't think Fournette's going to have a lot of success this week against Houston. But I like the Cincinnati Bengals in this game. The only thing I'll tell you with this game, and the money line's minus 145. Thing I'll tell you with this football game is it sort of has a push feel to it. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if they won 20-17, 16-13, 23-20. That's the only thing that slightly concerns me. I like the Bengals, but I know it's going to be close. And yes, Jazz, I am aware the Bengals. The Bengals will be on the team, Jazz. I appreciate that, Bobby Brown. Oh, Beckham's game changes. Yeah, what? Every 3 weeks, fucking. And then when he isn't, he's pouting on the fucking sidelines, hitting himself in the face with a fucking net. There's too much drama. He's too inconsistent, Beckham. He's a spectacular player. I'm not, listen, I'm on TV in New York, okay? So I've done videos and shit and shows where I've criticized Beckham, man. I get a lot of fucking hate, trust me. People freak, but people are really protective about Beckham for some reason. I don't know what it is. They're like, whoa, they act like he's fucking Jerry Rice or something. How'd he do in that Green Bay game last year? You guys walking around without a shirt before the fucking game? Oh, yeah, that's why I upset them. I said the New York Giant wide receivers couldn't catch a fucking STD if they fucked a Kardashian up the ass without a condom. Those guys, earlier in the week, they're fucking smoking weed on a boat in Miami. And then on Sunday, they're walking around without their shirt on. And then during the game, they're all cold. It's like the New York Giant wide receivers last year. The New York Giant wide receivers, they were just the biggest bitches, in the playoffs. It was comical. Hey, what up, Chris Edge, my main man from San Diego? That's the thing. You know what? It's the NBA. It's the NBAization. You guys, it's a Vince Young jersey. It's the it's like the NBAization, NBAization. I'm making shit words up here. What's up, Drew? Kyle Johnson. But we're seeing more and more young guys in the NBA and in the NFL that are like young guys in the NBA. They're sort of superstars that never really done anything. Cam Newton. Yeah, I like Cam Newton. He made it to a Super Bowl. I get it. But Cam Newton sort of got elevated to this mega star, larger than life, right? It's the NFL is these young guys are very NBA-ish. Sort of Russell Westbrook. Yeah, I look at Beckham and he thinks he's Russell Westbrook, but Westbrook's actually better than you are, Beckham. Beckham and Drew Still, he says, he's Sammy Watkins who's on the field more. You know what I mean? Yeah, he's spectacular. Like I said, anytime I talk about Odell Beckham, I just upset people. But you know who Odell Beckham is to me? He's Blake Griffin. Fuck. He's Blake Griffin. Odell Beckham can fucking jump over a car and dunk a basketball like Griffin can. And it's yeah, all right, Beckham. Yeah. A couple of times a year, you're going to make some stupid, sick, one-handed baseball, Kevin Mitchell style grab. And, other times you're going to diss a fucking peer. You're going to drop fucking easy passes. He's not, and the thing is with Beckham, he's not a bad teammate. So that's the thing. It's not like he's bitching on the sidelines and stuff. Beckham doesn't cry oh, you can give me the fucking ball. But he's so fragile. And another thing with Beckham is, it's well known around the National Football League. All you got to do is talk shit to the guy, and he'll almost start crying. He's more thin-skinned than fucking Taylor Swift, fuck. Seriously. And remember his LSU teammate, I think it was fucking Brooks on the Bills. And he let it out. He even said, he goes, listen, I played with this guy at LSU. And he goes, he's a nice kid, but he's fucking kind of soft. And he's a big prima donna. And basically, in practice, the LSU kids used to sort of troll him a bit. So they knew, right? But when they got to the NFL, they're not on the same team anymore. And once word got out, and then you saw with Josh Norman, once word got out, hey, Beckham, you can rattle this fucking guy. And they do, man. They talk a lot of shit to Beckham, and it gets in his head, and he gets all fucking crazy and shit. Hey, I'm not arguing it. I know. I'm aware, Jim Beam. I'm aware about his numbers. He's the only fucking guy to have fucking 10 touchdowns. What is it? 100 catches a year, 10 fucking touchdowns a year, and 1,000 yards a year in his first 3 seasons or something stupid like that. I'm aware. But I still rather have AJ Green on my team. I'd rather have Julio Jones on my team. I'm not talking about fantasy. I'm talking about real world shit. I'd rather have AJ Green or Julio Jones over Odell Beckham on my football team. Is Odell Beckham the first wide receiver you're taking if you're an NFL GM right now? Guan White's back after a beer run. You guys are saying no, you agree or don't agree? You think that Odell Beckham's better than AJ Green? Yeah, and what about Antonio Brown? Antonio Brown's consistent as a motherfucker. Like I said, I'm not shitting on Odell. He puts up big numbers, but, you know, in big games, he doesn't really step up. He disappears a lot. We can go on and on about Odell for 2 hours, all right? I don't like him. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say I don't like him, but I would take Julio Jones over him. I would take AJ Green over him. I would take Antonio Brown over him. And that's, you know, then there's kind of the cutoff. Don't get me started on fucking Eli Manning. I've said, but you guys can't have it both ways. Is Eli Manning a Hall of Famer? You know, Eli Manning's a goofball that happened to win 2 Super Bowls. I can't change the fucking channel now either. Fuck, I'm stuck. Wouldn't I take Dalton over Ben over Eli? Well, I'll take Ben over any one of them. You know what, though, Jordan? It's a good comparison. And, you know, I like you say this. I like that you say this because I brought it up before. I've said that. I've said Eli Manning is Andy Dalton with 2 Super Bowl rings. You know what I mean? Like, they're very similar. The Eli Manning is the same, though, man, as Beckham. Eli Manning will have a couple of good games and shit. And Eli Manning's numbers at the end of the day are always going to look decent and pretty good. But Eli Manning does so many stupid fucking things, and he looks around all like, what? Whoa, intercepted. He's always surprised. You know, he's got that just dumb goofball look on his face all the time. How many times Eli Manning got passes batted down back in his face and shit? I'm not a big Eli Manning fan. And once again, I'm not saying Eli Manning sucks, but I'm not a big Eli Manning fan. I'm not going to take away the fact that the kid's never missed a game. He's a tough little motherfucker. I wouldn't suggest you buy an autographed helmet from him because he's probably one of his stooges. Craig Carton probably signed Eli Manning's helmet. Yeah, exactly. He's got that. You're right. Same with Mike Pence. They got that constant, I got to take a shit look. Great way of putting it, K. Jones. Like, Eli Manning can have a great drive, and then the next drive, it'll be like 4 D linemen like this in front of his face, and he'll throw it, and it'll hit the guy in the face mask. It'll get popped into the air for an interception, and then he acts surprised like they were invisible. I didn't see them. Like, he does a lot of weird, stupid shit, but so does Andy Dalton. That's why I said Andy Dalton will go down the field. Andy Dalton will get the ball in his own 2-yard line, go all the way down the field to the other 6-yard line, and then, like, fumble the snap. You know what I mean? The Giants only averaged like 19 points a game last year. The Giants' offense is putrid. That's another thing, too. It's like the perception of reality. 2 different things. New York Giants put up, yeah, exactly, 19 points. Exactly 19. Only the Houston Texans, Chicago Bears, New York Jets, Cleveland Browns, and Rams scored less than the Giants did. San Francisco scored more than the Giants did. And same with Houston. They had Brock Osweiler as their quarterback. So I don't understand that. If if Eli Manning's so fucking good, you have Odell Beckham, Sterling Shepard, You had Victor Cruz. The thing with the Giants overall is they don't have a run game, and that's not Eli's fault. You know, the last time to me the Giants had some good backs was like Brandon Jacobs era and shit, and, you know, they won a Super Bowl. It's the same thing with the Detroit Lions. I want to get back to Detroit, actually, is Detroit have no ground game. They have no pass rush. They're going to lose in the trenches. Arizona going to beat them. So where are we here? Yeah, we're arguing. We're talking about Dalton and all this shit. Take Cincinnati. Cincinnati beats Baltimore. Jacksonville Jaguars and the Houston Texans. I don't know if this is a big trap, but I think the Houston Texans beat them rather easily. I know last year they played 2 close competitive football games. I have zero confidence in Nate Hackett, the offensive coordinator for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I am convinced that Doug Marrone and Nate Hackett are having a fucking extramarital affair together. Allegedly, sarcastically. I don't want to get sued by them. But I don't understand I don't understand. Let me ask you, Coach Marrone. Nate Hackett was with you in Syracuse. You guys go to Buffalo. He's fucking incompetent. You know, I could have found a fucking drunk Bills fan in the parking lot to do a better job than Nate Hackett calling fucking plays. And now Nate Hackett's calling plays in Jacksonville. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He's an incompetent fucking guy. I don't know how Nate Hackett has a job. Really. Honestly. Okay, so what? Why do you have a job in the what did you do in the NFL that was so great? Well, I was the offensive coordinator of a Buffalo Bill offense that sucked. Oh, you mean the one that mismanaged Sammy Watkins and didn't know how to use him? Oh, yeah, that's the one. Yeah, you're the guy. Like, Nate Hackett is the worst offensive coordinator in the history of fucking football. Like, if we did the all-worst coaching team, you know, Rich Kotite's the coach, Nate Hackett's the OC, like, he's incompetent, all right? I don't know how much more I can be clear. And Leonard Fournette ain't going to do jack shit against this elite defense. They're not going to, Leonard Fournette's not going to be doing anything against this defense. The Houston Texans have all the pieces in place. It's only 5 points. Why is it only 5 points? I'm so sick and tired of hearing everybody name drop everyone on the Jacksonville Jaguars roster, too. Well, they got this guy on defense and that guy. Yeah, whatever, fuck. The Jacksonville Jaguars have been racking up fucking first-round fucking top 5 picks for the last fucking 8 years, man. So what? Like, okay, how many fucking picks? Oh, yeah, they got Dante Fowler. Yeah, you mean the kid that fucking let his 2 fucking bitches fucking fight over him and filmed it? The same Dante Fowler that fucking punched a dude in the face the other day fucking for calling him a bad driver? Is Blake Bortles still the fucking quarterback of this team? Oh, yeah, you know, J.J. Watt. I know. J.J. Watt's a nobody. J.J. Watt's back. Clowney looked like a fucking monster, man, last year. Took Clowney a couple of years. Guy had some serious knee surgery. Takes a couple of years to come back from that. Takes a couple of years to come back from that. Last year against the New England Patriots, man, Clowney was in fucking Tom Brady's face in like 1.2 seconds. Like, I don't even know how he was doing it. It was like hot, boom, and he would hit Brady, like, boom. Remember last year in the playoff was over and over, boom. The kid's a freak, fuck. And he's healthy right now. Yeah, have fun with that Jacksonville offensive line. Listen, I'm a fantasy guy. I'll tell you what, the Jacksonville Jaguars offensive line is fucking terrible. All right, it's a bad offensive line, and you're going to have J.J. Watt on one side and Clowney on another side coming. It's impossible to stop. You got to double team one of them. Well, all right, pick your poison. So, all right, I guess we'll double team J.J. Watt. Fuck. We'll double team J.J. Watt. Yeah, and then you're going to have fucking Clowney on single coverage. Clowney's fucking faster than fucking wide receivers are. He's just going to go zip right around the edge. Zip, zip. And Blake Bortles is a fucking moron that likes to turn the ball over. I don't understand why the line is only 5. Tom Savage was like 24 or 32 completions in the preseason. Like Bill O'Brien stated, Deshaun Watson played as good as any fucking kid I've ever seen play before. He said that. Said Deshaun Watson was more prepared and as good as any kid I've ever seen come into the NFL before. And they're like, well, then how come Tom Savage? And he goes, Tom Savage, I think, is only thrown like 3 incomplete passes in the entire training camp. He's like, Savage is prepared. He's throwing like the ball is zipping. He understands the offense. I never thought I'd be sitting here speaking with as much confidence in a Tom Savage run offense, but I don't have any issues here. We got Dante Foreman. We got fucking Lamar Miller. DeAndre Hopkins is a machine. The Houston Texans won 9 games 3 years in a row with shitty quarterbacks. They'll be just fine now. Exactly, Jazz. Bortles can't fucking hit guys and guys, Bortles is a fucking train wreck. They wanted to bench him for fuck's sakes, but Chad Henne was just as bad. like Doug Marrone, the head coach, said ideally we don't throw the ball once. Yeah, that's fine. If you were playing against fucking the Ohio Bobcats or South Alabama, you're playing the Houston Texans. So, yeah, you got Leonard Fournette. So what? You know what I mean? The Jags are just the Texans are going to dare the Jags to throw the ball. They're going to stack the box. They're going to say, all right, Bortles, throw the ball. Thrown more pick sixes than anybody in the history of the NFL, like per ratio. He set a record. Nobody's thrown as many pick sixes as quickly as this kid has. He's a turnover machine. And, oh, yeah, it's in Houston. And, oh, yeah, it's Hurricane Harvey's fucking first game. J.J. Watt raised $20 million for this thing. And you're going to take 5 points? Like I told my boy Cam on the radio show tonight. He's like, oh, I like the Jags, their defense. I said, Cam, man, you got to be giving me 9 points or something. All right, like the Bills-Jets game. Like the Bills-Jets game or something. But, you know, you have to have a fucking good reason to be taking the Jags in this game. No, Will Fuller's not there. We're going to get to some college, Chris Edge, pretty soon, buddy. I love your Aztecs tomorrow. I love Rutgers tomorrow. Yeah, Will Fuller's out, Kevin White. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Corbin. I'm saying that Blake Bortles is a record breaker. Exactly, Bretsky. If you're playing in a survivor pool, this is survivor worthy. The Hurricane Harvey magic in Houston with Blake Bortles. Blake Bortles' confidence is shot, fuck. All right? Like, imagine like just J.J. Watt hitting him in the back. He's going to fumble the ball. The place is going to go crazy. Tom Savage will be just fine. He'll connect with Hopkins a couple of times. They'll give the ball to Lamar Miller a million times. All right, so we'll pick up the pace because in 12 minutes at 11 Eastern, we got big man on campus. All right, so I like the Texans here. Buffalo Bills are laying 8 points. For the record, I'm a diehard Buffalo Bill fan. I'm not saying this out of any bias. It's not a best pick. It's not going to be in our Vegas Super Contest teams, but I do believe that the Bills are going to cover the point spread in this game. The New York Jets have nothing. All right, they got Bilal Powell, and that's gonna wear thin. Oh, yeah, last thing with the Houston Texans, too. For the record for you Survivor players, Bill O'Brien is 19-2 straight up. Last 21 times he's been a favorite in a football game, and he's also 15-5-2 against the spread as a favorite. And he's also 10-1 straight up last 11 games against division foes. Buffalo Bills against the New York Jets. You know, the Bills have had a weird offseason. They've had a weird training camp. They've had a weird, like, every day is weird with the Bills, all right, recently. You know, they cut guys, they're trading guys, they're all over the place, but they know what they're doing. McDermott's a hard ass. You know the Buffalo Bill head coach, he was a national champion prep wrestler, high school wrestler. Guy's a real overachiever, all right? He's a hard ass, this guy. He doesn't like prima donna bitches. That's why he got rid of Watkins. He basically said, you're a good kid, but you're not what we you know. Like, you know, he's fucking tough, this guy. Like, he wants tough guys, and you got to be tough. And you got to fit the system. So the thing that, with all that being stated, is the Buffalo Bills aren't trying to tank. They're trying to build for the future, but at the same point in time, you know, they're tweaking things. But still, they still have way more talent than the New York Jets do. I'll tell you right now, the Buffalo Bill offensive line is good, all right? It was shit for a while, but it's good now. The Buffalo Bill offensive line is good. Tyrod Taylor didn't look good in the preseason. I can admit that, and he hasn't played since the Baltimore game. He didn't look great in the preseason, Tyrod Taylor, but nevertheless. You've got Zay Jones, who I like a lot out of East Carolina at wide receiver, and you got Jordan Matthews. So Matthews is healthy now. So you got Zay Jones and Matthews as your wide receivers. You got Charles Clay as your tight end. The new offensive coordinator is using Charles Clay a hell of a lot more for you fantasy guys. Charles Clay is pretty good, too. He's going to be part of the offense a bit more. And, oh, yeah, they have LaShawn McCoy. LaShawn McCoy is going to be the best player on the field in his football game with the Jets and the Bills. And with the combination of Tyrod Taylor scrambling, Matthews will make a couple of plays. Zay Jones might fucking get a nice spectacular catch. I think Zay Jones is like the new Beckham, actually. Well, look at video of Zay Jones. He's like a spectacular one-handed, crazy-ass catch guy. I think the Bills win this game like 27-10. I'm not going to recommend it because it's 8 points and it's the Buffalo Bills, but I do think the Bills win and I think they cover. The Tennessee Titans, I think the Tennessee Titans are going to beat the Oakland Raiders. I prefer to minus 145 on the money line than I do minus 3. I think that the total at 50.5 is a good play. I know they played last year and it was 17-10, but I'm not buying that this time around. This game's going to be a fucking track meet shootout. The Oakland Raiders defensively are terrible. They were lucky to win 12 games last year. I'm not saying the Raiders are a terrible team, but they were lucky to win 12 games last year. I've said it a million times. Their point differential was plus 31 last year. That's the slimmest point differential. That's the slimmest point differential for any 12-win team in the history of the National Football League. The Raiders were second to last in sacks in the National Football League. I think they were actually last, tied with the Jets. The Raiders had like 26 sacks last year. To put it in comparison, the Arizona Cardinals sacked opposing quarterbacks 48 times. Khalil Mack, who had like 13.5 sacks or whatever it is, Khalil Mack literally had like half the Raiders' sacks. So the Raiders have one guy that can get after the quarterback, but it's minimal. And they're ranked 23rd against the run. They're ranked 24th against the pass. The Raiders have a rookie playing middle linebacker for them who's going to be calling the plays, the kid out of Wake Forest. To me, the Tennessee Titans are going to do a lot of damage. They're going to go up and down the field. I love the over of this game. It's probably going to be a close game and come down to the wire, but I do think Tennessee are going to win this game. It's minus 145 on the money line, and I think it goes over the number. Philadelphia Eagles and the Washington Redskins. I don't understand why the Eagles are favored in this game. All this fucking talk, man, about fucking Alshon Jeffrey and Torrey Smith, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, let them play for real in a regular season game. I find it funny. People say, the same people that said, the New England Patriots offense is going to struggle because they're going to have to get acclimated to have Brandon Cooks there and to have Dorsett there and to have no Edelman there, are the same people that are raving about the Eagles' new look. Alshon Jeffrey did jack shit in the preseason. Torrey Smith got open once on a defensive breakdown for a 50-yard pass. I like Carson Wentz. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. But the fact of the matter is the Redskins own these guys. Have beaten them 5 straight times. Similar situation with the Bengals and the Ravens. I told you, they're beating them 5 out of the last 7 times. These division rivals, the history repeats itself. Like, give me a legitimate reason why the Philadelphia Eagles would be road favorites in this game. Kirk Cousins is erratic, but he's got weapons to work with, all right? People are like, Deshaun Jackson's gone. Fuck Deshaun Jackson. Terrell Pryor is better than Deshaun Jackson at this stage. Deshaun Jackson's like these other fucking bitch wide receivers. Deshaun Jackson will make one good play for 38 yards, and then he's like, my groin. And then he's on the sideline. He's too erratic. Terrell Pryor will be just fine. He's just as fast, and he's fucking taller. Jamison Crowder is going to be a steal this year. He's going to be a really good player. Jordan Reed's a fucking freak of nature. Kirk Cousins is going to air it out against the suspect Philadelphia Eagles secondary. And, the Eagles got Ronald Darby. He's all right. He's a Bill. He was a Bill, all right? He's okay. He's pretty small. He's good. I'm not going to shit on him. He's a good player, but he's kind of small. I think the Redskins are going to beat him. The Redskins always beat the Eagles. I don't see any reason why they don't do it again. Pittsburgh Steelers are laying 9 points against the Cleveland Browns. DeShone Kizer used to turn the ball over against the armies of the world. How do you think he's going to do against Pittsburgh? Pittsburgh's going to win this game 30-10. This is the one. Everyone's on the Rams. Everyone's got a hard on for the Rams here. It's up to 4.5, guys. The Rams averaged 14 points per game last year, but they bring in Sammy Watkins. They got Robert Woods. And I'll recap and give you my best bets after, but I wanted to just sort of plow through every game. 44-0 Oklahoma State right now, 11 minutes remaining. 47-11. Boom. We hit the over and we hit the Boilermakers. Second half players for Oklahoma State, too. We're all hitting this. It's a good night. I'm going to lose the over, but it's going to balance itself out. I need some points in this CFL game that I can't see because I'm stuck on the Discovery Network. Fuck me, man. Got some documentary on fucking Eagles here. Is that a sign to take the Philadelphia Eagles? No shit. I look up on TV. There's a real-life Eagle here. Yeah. People are acting like Scott Tolzien has no legs. Scott Tolzien's a mermaid, fuck. Scott Tolzien's fucking Caitlyn Jenner here. Like, you got no balls. Like, really? You want to be laying 4.5 points with the Rams, even though Scott Tolzien's the quarterback? Might be a little bit of an overreaction right now. Carolina Panthers and San Francisco. I like the 49ers plus the 5 points. I think they can get this done. I think Carolina's going to win a low-scoring game. I've got an upset special. I like the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle's going to beat Green Bay. But before the program's done tonight, I will recap my NFL best bets. I'll spit them out now to you right now. Arizona Cardinals. Arizona Cardinals, minus 130 money line. Cincinnati Bengals, minus 145 money line. Houston Texans, minus 5. Tennessee Titans, minus 145 money line, over 50.5. Love the Washington Redskins, plus 1. Seattle Seahawks, upset special, plus 140 on the money line, plus 3. Over 51. And tease the Seahawks to plus 10, over 44. And we'll get to this Ezekiel Elliott stuff. Elliott's back. Good job, Goodell. Our boy Druzilla said Goodell's going to get pushed out because he's so incompetent. Like, Goodell can't even suspend people properly. Fuck. No, they haven't, Tom Marino. They haven't lost 7 straight to Green Bay. Do you recall they do you recall, Tom Marino, the Seattle Seahawks beat the Green Bay Packers to go to the Super Bowl 2 years ago? So unless they have played 7 fucking times since 2 years ago. Look, Seahawks are going to get that done. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back on the other side with our main man, Donnie, Donnie Right-Side's partner in crime, big man on campus. And I bring up Donnie because me and Donnie will be kicking it Sunday at noon until 1, throwing out our final picks. We'll be blasting through our final picks. I'll have all my props and everything for you, too. We'll talk some props a little bit later on, but, go to the Fantasy Sports Network YouTube page as well. I have my NFL Best Bet video up there, but I'll narrow it down a little bit. But I'm not lying to you. The games I'm going to be betting, Arizona Cardinals. I'm taking the Cardinals minus 130 on the money line. I'm taking the Baltimore Ravens minus 145 on the money line. I like the Titans to go over 50.5. I like the Redskins plus 1. I think San Francisco can hang around with Carolina at plus 5. And I think Seattle are going to go into Green Bay and they're going to beat the discount double check boy. And that hot chick, Olivia Nunn, that he fucking left behind will become a Seahawks fan. I got some other ones. I got some teasers and shit. Like the Falcons aren't losing. Let's go. Moneyline parlay. Falcons Bills. Minus 136. Boom. All right, instead of that, we're better off doing a 7-point teaser. See, there's the math. I'd rather, that's mine. Look, Falcons, Bills, moneyline parlay is minus 136, but we could do a 7-point teaser at minus 130 and get the Falcons at +1. That's what I'm saying. Always do the price check on the moneyline parlay as opposed to a teaser. But the Bills aren't losing to the Jets. The Falcons aren't losing to the Bears. There's a moneyline parlay at minus 136. Throw the Pittsburgh Steelers in there, plus 114. But we talked about it. You can get plus 140 on a 3-team 7-point teaser. Yeah, let's do that. Three-team 7-point teaser. Atlanta Falcons +1. Buffalo Bills -1. Pittsburgh Steelers -2. That's plus 140. They're giving money away. Football's back. Plus 140. I'll fucking cash that, man. I'll hit that all day. All right, let's take a quick break. And when we say quick, we mean, quick, smoke them if you got them. Bong break, bathroom break, dog break, beer break. Figure out how to fucking change my channel break. And every other fucking break in between. But it's a quick one. Get your Sharpies out. Big man on campus is stepping up and in. We're talking college football. I got a couple of picks I really like. Like I said, I know famous last words have started with, you know what? I'm going to bet big on Rutgers. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to bet big on Rutgers. That's always worked out well. All right, level 2, late night anger management class. Let's do this thing. Can't keep the big man on campus waiting too much longer. We're ready to throw it down, talk some college football. We went through the NFL. I'll recap some NFL picks before we're out of here. As I stated, you can check out my video over the Fantasy Sports Network YouTube page. And, you know, if you're not in the LV Westgate Super Contest, you can beat Jimmy the Bag, man. Win $25,000 over at sportsbookreview.com. Support the sponsors. Go over to sportsbookreview.com. Click on one of the sports books. You're going to be betting this weekend anyways. You can never have too many sportsbook accounts now, can you? So check that out. You can beat Jimmy the Bag, too. Free contest. It's very, very cool. SBR kicking some serious ass, giving some serious fucking money away. It's free, too. Nothing wrong with free. And I see our man, the big man, ready to step up and in. Let's talk some college football. Let's talk some NFL football. It's 10-3 in the Canadian Football League game right now. It's 44-21. Purdue late, and it's 44-7. Ooh, South Alabama gets on the board. They're at 51 now. Fuck, even another 2 touchdowns won't get us there. And I wouldn't be surprised if our main man, the big man on campus, actually has a piece of the over of this this Oklahoma State game. I don't need to introduce him. You know who he is. It's like AC Counts. You know who the fuck it is. It's AC. It steps up. And what's up, big man?
What's up, cuz? How you doing?
Hey, always good. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate your patience here. But,
no problem,
you know, I'm old, man. I need a break every once in a while. I'm used to TV and radio breaks, you know?
Dude, I hear you. I'm on my, 4th or 5th show today. I'm up and in here with the big man, Gabe Morency.
Is it to the point, it's to the point where, you know, I had a radio show tonight, and I told my co-host, I said, I don't even have time to go to the fucking bathroom, man, because it wasn't a leak. I had to take a dump right before the fucking show. I'm like, man, not enough time. People don't realize it. Yeah, people don't realize. I was like, I got to bite the bullet, man. I got to fucking sit here for the next hour. Fucking bathroom in our studio is like a fucking mile and a half away. But nevertheless, you know, we're talking NFL football here. So before we get into the college, anything in the NFL, if you're going to bet 1, 2 games, 3 games, what are you locking in?
I'm locking in over Eagles, Redskins. I said earlier on our show, Donnie and I, you know, I think both these teams will abandon the run pretty quick, Gabe. I mean, you look at Washington, they don't run the ball as it is, and I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to struggle this year to run the football. They don't really have a running back per se. They don't have a starter. I mean, they have a lot of guys that run the football, but they don't have a Le'Veon Bell in this football team. Just a lot of guys that run the ball. They passed the most in the preseason. I think they're going to heavily throw the football, and I think Kirk Cousins is going to air it out as well. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. 2 secondaries that have a little trouble, let's say. Darby, look, I like them bringing him in. As you know, I'm a big Eagle fan. They needed something in the secondary. Ronald Darby's something. They still have a 7th rounder playing corner. That's concerning. They have good safeties, but their corners are questionable. I just think it's a high-scoring game. I think this is a 34-27 type of game, something like that. I think we see plenty of points in this one.
I can't disagree with you. I agree. I think it's going to be. I think that game, the ones with the highest totals. It's no surprise. The Raider game and the Titan game. I know they only scored 27 points when they played last year, but I just can't see how that game doesn't turn into the winner has to get into the 30s. Historically, I don't have to tell you, being in Philly, you look at the past games, they always get into the high 40s or more. It's very rare. We went through the games the last 10 times they played. It's been 40 or plus for teaser players. That's something to really consider. But we have that history as well of the Redskins just always beating the Eagles, don't we?
Yeah, we do. And I will say this, and you look at the last time the Eagles did beat the Redskins, it was in like week 16, and it didn't mean shit. So, I mean, they've had a problem beating this team. And
the Redskins still covered that game anyways. They were getting 4. They lost by 3.
Yeah, it was a game where, the Redskins were resting everyone, and the Eagles ended up winning, but it wasn't anything easy. Zach Ertz had like 20 catches in a game that didn't mean anything, which is no surprise from him. He never plays well when you need him to. They've had a real problem, Gabe, with getting tight ends to play well. I mean, L.J. Smith was a work in progress for 8,000 years. He never got into anything. Zach Ertz seemingly is doing the same thing. Hopefully he has a season finally. I mean, it's been too long. But, yeah, they have their number. And, I considered – I was talking to Donnie, my partner. I was going to go to this game, and then I thought to myself, you know what? Do I really fucking want to drive an hour and a half to Landover, a stadium that's fucking shit as it is? I could just sit here. I can hang out, listen to you guys. And go to the next home game. But, I just think we see points. I think it's imperative the Eagles win this game. I think early on, they have a tough game next week against Kansas City, as we saw. Big Red, facing Big Red another time. Again, it's week 1, but they really need to start the season out at a high level. I think the over is the play, though. Should see a lot of points here.
Yeah, and we should note you and I will be kicking it, watching the game together, doing some betcast stuff on Sunday night, just to chill, sort of kick back, watch the game, bitch about the play calling, keep people up to date as far as the in-game numbers.
I'll say this, Gabe. I hate the fucking Cowboys, and I hate the fucking Giants, so toast to that. We'll have some fun.
So you're going to hope that everyone you're going to hope the scoreboard, like the Batman movie and the field implodes and shit?
Well, I will be there having fun, kind of breaking their balls. But I will say I do like the Cowboys in that game. I heard you talking a little bit earlier about Odell Beckham. And, again, I just read articles. I'm not saying he's going to or not going to, but according to the New York Post, he's about 50% Odell Beckham to play in this game. I don't know if that means anything. But, again, they said he's there. He's not close to being there, though. He might try hard and play. I don't know, but
he wants to play Sunday night, primetime television, Dallas Cowboys. The question is, and I've seen this with Sammy Watkins before. I remember last year, Sammy Watkins had a bad foot. He goes, no, I'm fine. And then they held him back because they're like, well, we don't want to get him hurt before the season starts. And then, boom, the season starts, and then he got hurt playing in week 1. The Giants have to be careful with this and think about Odell more long-term than they do short-term. Sort of like what the Colts said. I like what Ballard said. Said, I'm worried about Andrew Luck over the next 10 years, not the next 10 days. And, we'll see if the Giants find themselves in that situation. But this is why they brought Marshall in. And, Marshall's not at 100% either. But I like the boys. The line is climbing here. Now they get the news. It's been such a roller coaster, this game, big man, with with Elliott being out and then taken off the board, and Elliott's in, Elliott's out. Oh, Elliott's going to play in this game, but then he's suspended for the rest 6 games, and he's coming back to now tonight. Boys, I'm feeling pretty good about shit as they check into their team hotel, even though they're at home. All teams stay at hotels, obviously. Now they're like, damn, we got Elliott. Everything's good, and they're feeling pretty good about themselves coming into this. Meanwhile, the Giants, I think they'll be without Odell Beckham Jr. here. The question is, do you want to lay 4.5 here? I think the Cowboys beat them. The Giants have beaten them 3 straight times. And, last year was the debut of Dak Prescott, and Eli Manning won. It was a similar situation, a Sunday nighter. Late in the year they won, but the game didn't mean jack to Dallas. So I don't put much stock in that. And then they beat them the previous time. So they beat them 3 straight times. I'm not the biggest revenge guy, but I think this is a revenge spot. And I'm not high on the Giants. I think the Giants are overrated coming into this year. We talked about Eli Manning earlier. I don't trust Eli coming into this game. I think Dak Prescott's going to have a big night. I think Elliott will have a big night just to stick it to the NFL and the whole deal. They're going to be playing with a purpose, the Cowboys now. I like the Pokes here. I'm just not in a hurry to lay 4.5.
I agree with you. I think everything you said is exactly right. I think, with this injunction, it's likely that Ezekiel Elliott will play the whole season. And shout out to my partner yet again, Donnie Rightside. We're in a fantasy league together. He went and took a shot on Zeke 4 or 5 rounds in. I guess he had a crystal ball or something.
Dude, I took him 10th overall last week.
That's a good move by both of you. I guess you had crystal balls and weren't worried about the 6 games. I will say this.
Goodell has no balls. Speaking of balls, Goodell's suspensions mean nothing. Goodell's fucking suspending guys before, it's unbelievable that the guy can't even suspend people properly, man.
Right. No, I thought they'd use him really. And I think we can agree they've used him as a scapegoat and all this. If you read the court documents, the text from this girl and all sorts of stuff, she's a fucking head case. She's psycho. She's psycho. Anyone can read that. But again, they had to use him as a scapegoat. They didn't do a good job with Josh Brown. They didn't do a good job with a lot of players, and at some point they got to drop the hammer on someone, and that was him. But in this game, I agree with you. I don't like their offensive line, the Giants. I don't think they did enough to improve that. I don't really care that they added Brandon Marshall. That's great and all, but he's just been an average player in this league. If you don't have Ezekiel Elliott, you look at your receivers. You have Marshall, who's limping, as you said. Roger Lewis out of Bowling Green, Tavares King out of Washington State. You got a lot of young players there. I guess they'll fit in, the young kid out of Ole Miss, Ingram, and they have.
Well, I'll tell you right now, big man Jeff, if Odell is out in this football game, the number 1 and number 2 receivers are going to be Marshall and Shepard, right?
Right.
And Shepard already has the chemistry going. I like Shepard. Shepard's a baller. I just think the rest of these guys are bad influence. And I got nothing against smoking weed, but going to Miami and that boat shit was stupid. And then taking their shirts off before the game was stupid. I don't want to see Shepard get fucking sucked into this crap with these guys because I think he could be a good player. But from a prop perspective, though, we'll bet Shepard on Sunday night over because Eli's not going to have really many people to throw the ball to, and Shepard will know where to be at least.
Look, I don't agree with going to Miami before a playoff game either, but Odell Beckham is a diva. He likes to hang out with Drake and party and, do it up, do it big, as they say. And
hate Drake. Drake.
I guess I'm not a fan of him either. But again, Sterling Shepard's going to pal around with these guys. That's part of the game, I guess, unfortunately. Odell Beckham has to be better as far as being, I know he's a young kid, but a kid like Sterling Shepard, he's going to pal around. He needs to set a better example. But the problem for me is there's no running game for the fucking Giants. I said it the last time I was on the show.
Yeah.
Who was their best running back? Tiki Barber, for God's sakes? I don't like this running game.
Yeah. Brandon Jacobs, like I said. Last time I had a good back. Brandon Jacobs, all right, he could pound the ball. Paul Perkins, all right. Paul Perkins is a third down back. They have 2 third down backs in Vereen and Perkins. And it puts Eli in a tough situation. Very similar to Stafford. We'll see if Abdullah brings any punch to the ground game for them. But they don't have a ground game. Everyone knows they're going to throw the football. That's the thing. I think they could be in a tough spot here. And the Giants were really very, very sloppy in the preseason. The only one time they looked good is when they played the Jets in the dress rehearsal game. And it's hard to take much stock in that.
No, I totally agree with you. I think this is going to mean more to the Cowboys on, not that it won't mean anything to the Giants, but Ezekiel Elliott's going to play like a nut on Sunday night. I agree he's going to want to stick to the league. I agree with you on that. Seems like one of those kind of guys. Yeah, for me, it'll be fun to watch this one with you live. I'll go Cowboys initially here.
All right, so I'll recap some NFL stuff after, guys, but let's talk some college football because we got a ton of games.
Well, to answer your question, by the way, Gabe, I did have a fucking piece of the goddamn over in the fucking Cowboy-Jaguar game here. And I got to tell you, if I could rant for just 1 minute, what the fuck did I see from South Alabama today? What a piss-poor offensive performance. You weren't playing, fucking Alabama here. You're playing Oklahoma State, who, let's be real, once their starters came out, they didn't give a shit in this game. But due to my luck, unfortunately, early on, the quarterback goes out for South Alabama. Dallas Davis, I don't know what the hell happened to this guy. Last year he was a pretty good player, but he couldn't throw the football tonight. The whole the third quarter or second quarter killed us. A couple missed field goals, 7-minute drives with no points, 6-minute drive with no points. This one didn't figure how I thought it would. I thought South Alabama could put up 20 in this game. I thought it was like a 48-21 type of game. We didn't get there. What are you going to do? But South Alabama, Gabe, I know you had the side here. You had no trouble when this one got to 41-0 because South Alabama wasn't going to score more than a touchdown in this game.
Yeah, it was frustrating. As you stated, South Alabama, the Jaguars put up 20 last week against Mississippi. So you figured going home here, and Oklahoma State's defense is pedestrian and mediocre, to say the least. We saw last week a similar situation with Tulsa and Oak State. No problem getting there. And we couldn't get anything from South Alabama. I'll tell you what, though, Jeff, I picked Oklahoma State. It was I don't know how bold it was, but I picked Oklahoma State to make the playoffs, actually, this year. I think this is a dangerous football team. They have an opportunity now with Stoops out of the way. I don't know if Lincoln Riley can win a Big 12 as a rookie head coach here. Everything's coming up Gundy's way. He's just got to close the deal. They usually slip up and lose games that they shouldn't. They're taking care of business. I guess they're at Pitt next week, right? And that's their toughest non-conference test against the Pittsburgh Panthers, but another very winnable football game for them. 44-21. I lost with the over in that game too. I didn't lay the 28, but when it was nothing late in the second quarter, I knew my total was toast, so I said, fuck this. I know South Alabama's fucked. So I jumped on Oklahoma State at minus 29.5. And so I cashed that, but I did hit the Purdue Boilermakers. And it's funny because a lot of people that I respect actually were talking about Ohio, and I heard the people talking about Purdue being in a letdown situation because last week they played a big game against Louisville and it's a letdown. Now they're only playing Ohio. And I said, first off, college kids don't really have letdowns, all right? They get let down when they lose. It's a moment, this. It's right. A momentum thing with college. If kids are going well, they're going to be going well. When shit goes bad, that's why we see all these swings in college basketball games. You see it all the time. One team's doing great, the other team fucking comes on, and then the other team comes back. Like once you can't stop the momentum in this shit. So I think Purdue felt real good about themselves after last week's game against Louisville. And I didn't see how anyone can. You're not going to have a letdown in your fucking home opener. And another thing is a MAC team isn't beating a Big Ten team. There has to be extraordinary circumstances for that to happen. I thought it was free money tonight with Purdue. Hindsight's 20/20, but I hit Purdue and the over. 44-21 final score. And we should note FIU beats Alcorn State 17-10 at Birmingham on a neutral field. 19 was the closing number, so Alcorn State gets it done there. Let's jump into tomorrow's football game.
Gabe?
Yep.
I will say this. I had Ohio tonight. I'll admit it. I didn't think it'd be a letdown. I just didn't want to lay points at Purdue. I thought week one, we blew them a little bit too much. They did lose the game. They were they got 3 turnovers from Louisville, gave up a ton of yards, but credit them tonight. Played well. I think Ohio is a really good MAC team. I think they're, to me, the second best team in the MAC. I agree with you. We can agree though that Purdue is a fringe Big Ten team. I don't know if I controlled the Big Ten, I don't know that Purdue.
Yeah, I know. They're a better basketball program.
Right. Again,
it's Drew Brees. It's been a while, but you know what? I don't have to tell you. And this is a nice little quick. It doesn't hurt here. Oh my God. Oh, return it. That's even better. The Montreal Alouettes were going to kick a field goal with no time left on the clock, and I was going to say, boom, we're going to get an extra nice little 3 points here to help the total. But even better, it gets blocked in return for a touchdown. Beautiful. The BC Lions, boom.
Perfect.
And I see some guys, like nice. 25-3 extra point penny is going to be 26-3. And I told you guys when the show fucking started, and I said this all day, the Alouettes never win in Vancouver. I don't get paid the big bucks to be there for nothing, guys. I can't click it for you.
Yeah, you know better than I do.
All right, so let's talk some college ball. Let's go through the rotation here. We can't hit every game, but we'll go rapid fire and I'll sort of blast through them here. So let's start off.
Let's do it.
All right, we got Buffalo and Army. Any interest there?
Yeah, I like Army. I did a video for SBR for this game. Gabe, I don't know if you know this, but they call me the military school expert at SBR. I love military schools. I'm fascinated by them. Army lost to Buffalo last year in Buffalo. Is a rainy night, Gabe, up in Buffalo, a raw kind of shitty night. You know about those. You live in Canada. Army is a vaunted rushing defense. I look at Buffalo this year. I know they played well week 1 against Minnesota. They still lost the game, had a lot of trouble moving the football. I look at tomorrow as a really big day for West Point. It's going to be beautiful up there. They have a really good fan base. I think to get behind this team tomorrow, I don't know if you noticed, Gabe, but in week 1, Army didn't complete a pass in that game and scored 64 points. When this offense gets going, it's hard to stop. It's like a big ball rolling down a hill. You just really want to get out of the way of it. Buffalo was 124th last year in run defense. I don't know if they've gotten any better. I think to get a little revenge here up at West Point tomorrow in front of their home fans. I love Army. They don't beat themselves. And they sit on the football and score touchdowns. When you do that, I have a hard time believing Buffalo is going to do too much in this game offensively. They're just not very good.
It's amazing that we've arrived to the point, and credit the program, that Army are actually 15.5-point favorites. It's amazing. Coming off, they beat Navy last year. They opened up the season with that big win in Philadelphia. They beat Temple. So you're right. This program's really coming on right now. All right, so we got Kansas State laying 34.5 here. A lot of people are really high on Snyder's team this year. So they're minus 34.5-point favorites. The total's 55.5. Slow start last week. You look at the final score of 55-19 against Central Arkansas, but it was actually 10-10 after the first quarter.
Yeah, they ended up covering that game pretty easy. I mean, you're going to do that to the Central Arkansas team there. Yeah, I'm not a big Kansas State guy. I think we do put a lot of stock into Bill Snyder, and as always, he's a good coach, great coach actually. But for him, it's really the bowl thing that's been a problem. But yeah, laying 35 here, I'm not crazy about it. I think Charlotte's a better program. They're getting better. They have a dual threat quarterback, Hassan Klug, who I believe can move the football. Look, they're not going to do much of anything this year in Conference USA. I don't have much in this game. It's hard, though, to lay a big number like this. Kansas State's not an air-it-out, air raid type of offense. It's okay laying 35 with a team like Oklahoma State that can put up that amount of points. But would you be surprised if Kansas State doesn't even put up 35 points? I wouldn't. But, again, I don't want to bet on Charlotte either. For me, it's a pass. But Charlotte's getting better. Yeah,
it's a pass for me as well. All right, I'm a Michigan fan. I was at the sports book last week in Vegas enjoying the Michigan football game, even though it was a horrific bad beat on the total. I had a piece of the under, and I'm fucking done betting on unders, but that's another story.
Yeah, I heard you last night with that. You're on to something with that. I can't disagree. It's every sport, Gabe. I mean, every
NBA, exactly. Remember the old days, dude? I remember the NBA All-Star game. The total used to be 245, but
now it's 328.
Yeah, shit.
No, you're right. And with every sport, I mean, whether it's college football or college basketball or baseball. I mean, you look at totals in baseball anymore, 9.5 is a normal total all of a sudden.
4-4 is just automatic. You're right. Yeah.
It's tough.
Okay, so Michigan, very impressive last week. They're laying 34. It seems like a lot. And as it moved here, it's an even 34. It's very rare that you see a total, a point spread this high. And they're minus 34. The total is only 50. Cincinnati put up 26 points last week against Austin Peay. What do you make of this one? It's a lot of points, but Harbaugh isn't shy about running it up. Like, he likes to get into the mid-40s, low 50s before he shuts it down. What do you make of this one?
Yeah, and he hates Ohio State. And where did Luke Fickell come from, Gabe?
Well, good point. Luke Fickell makes his debut tomorrow as the head coach. Not his debut.
In a real game.
Yeah, exactly. His debut against exactly.
But by the way, and I don't know if anyone knows this, but Austin Peay didn't win a game last year. They're 0-10, and they actually out-yarded
26-14. That's like Howard beating UNLV. They're a 2-win team last year. But, yeah, that's a good point that you raised about Fickell, though, and we saw that last week a little bit, with like the satellite camps and all that shit, and McElwain bitching. I saw when, Michigan threw a dagger bomb once and Harbaugh had a little grin on his face. That handshake was a quick one after. I'm a Michigan fan. I thank God every day that Harbaugh's our coach now, but Harbaugh can be a dick to other coaches, as we saw with the Schwartz shit in the NFL. You're right. Harbaugh no doubt knows that who's on the other sideline here.
He doesn't give a shit about running the scrub. He's going to do it, and I think he's going to be able to. Like I said, I mean, They out-yarded Austin P. Or out-yarded Cincinnati by a wide margin. I mean, about 60 yards. They had a better time of possession. They really had a chance to win the football game. Cincinnati's a rebuild. I think Luke Fickell will do good things there. I think that's a great place for him to recruit. You know, Cincinnati, a tough town. He's going to get some good Ohio recruits there. But in this game, I think it's tough. I mean, Michigan came out, didn't play their best football last week, but still got a convincing win there for the most part. I think they crushed Cincinnati in this game. I don't know that Cincinnati will be able to do much offensively. I considered looking at maybe the over here. I think I wouldn't disagree that I don't think Michigan should get into the 40s, I would think. I think this is like a 40 to 13 type of game, something like that. That'll get up and over the 50-point total here. I mean, Gabe, would it surprise you if Michigan dropped 44 in this game? I mean,
no,
really.
No,
I mean,
it wouldn't surprise me if they shut Cincinnati out either. Like, look, Florida didn't score anything on offense last week. It was 2 pick sixes.
Yeah, I think if they get to 44, they'll cover. I would lean to laying the points here. You're under that 5 touchdown mark. Michigan's going to be at the Big House here. We know that's a great venue. And like I said, I mean, Fickell came from Ohio State. Don't think Jim Harbaugh doesn't remember that. He'll run the score up here if he has to.
All right, we'll pick up the pace. There's so many motherfucking games. But FAU 33 at Wisconsin. Wisconsin slow start last week against Utah State, but they ended up ratcheting it up and drilling them. Florida Atlantic. I was high on FAU coming into the year, and I still am. I expected this. There was an overreaction. It was crazy last week. The trendiness of FAU against Navy, and you're a big military guy, so you were aware of Navy. It was great value with Navy in that football game. Now it's a paycheck game. This is how the program pays fucking Lane Kiffin and Kendall Briles and everybody. They go to Wisconsin. They're getting 33 points. The total's 59.5 here. What about the over in this one? There should be some points put up on the board. I think, can Florida Atlantic get us 17 points here?
I think this is a disastrous game for Florida Atlantic. I mean, you had that long game last week. Went into, what was it, 2 o'clock before they ended it. You got to go on the road now, and you got to go on the road knowing that your school is in the crosshairs of the strongest hurricane we've ever seen in this country. This is a bad spot, and you got to go play a team in Wisconsin who was absolutely dominant week 1. Gabe, I have a weird premonition. This game is a lot like tonight's game between Oklahoma State. I don't think Florida Atlantic's going to do much of anything. I know they're that high up-tempo offense, but their mind's somewhere else in this game. We saw what Rice did in that situation. They were blown off the fucking map. Florida Atlantic is a poor football team. I think, like we've talked about, I think they'll win a couple games this year, get up and over that total. But these 2 games to start are Bears. It's tough at Camp Randall. And Florida Atlantic and Utah State are similar football teams. They run an up-tempo offense. Here's the problem with the up-tempo offense. If you don't have people that are good at running it, it's not any good. Wisconsin is a good defensive team. I think this is similar to last week. I have 49-10, something like that. This is a disastrous spot for Florida Atlantic, I think.
Yeah, it was like Chip Kelly when he got to the Eagles early. It's not good if you're going fast and you're not doing anything. He was giving the ball back to the other team fast. The Bills tried that shit too with Marone. I'm going to be honest with you. If I was Kiffin here, I would just wave the towel. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to get my kids hurt here. I'd pull my starters pretty quickly, get the paycheck, get out of there, and then move on to Conference USA play.
But the problem you have here, Gabe, is, and this is the problem with being a new coach and a highly touted new coach and a guy that gets a lot of press. If you saw last week, he can't quit. I mean, it's going to look bad to the players. It's going to look horrible to him. It's going to be under the microscope. They're getting $1.2 million to go play this game. All their food and hotel rooms are paid for by Wisconsin. It's pretty nice digs, but I got to tell you, I mean, how long are they going to stay in Wisconsin, Gabe? I mean, it's not like they can go home right away.
That's a good point.
This is a terrible situation. I wouldn't want to be anywhere near FAU tomorrow.
That's a good call, Jeff. Very good point that you raised too. That these kids, they are humans and they're kids, and
they're kids that we know, Gabe.
They have a lot of family members too that could be in peril, right? They're not all rich kids and shit. Some of these kids. Right. I saw a story today too about shelters in Florida, seemingly are in rich white neighborhoods only, like Little Havana and shit, and fucking, down by the Orange Bowl, that's going to get fucking hit hard. Like, course, but that's besides the point.
And the problem you have here, Gabe, is like you said, these kids are all, we know Florida Atlantic. Some of these kids have major focus problems. They have behavioral issues. They have just problems in general. I don't think this is a good spot. They're kind of and I've said it before and I'll say it again, they're a group of rejects. No one else wants them. They're criminals, a lot of them. Some of them don't belong. They are. I mean, who wants Lane Kiffin as their coach? Who wants some of these guys? They don't deserve to be on a football field. They're criminals, several of them. And Lane's just trying to win football games. And again, they're the island of misfit toys, if you ask me.
All right, so what do you make? A lot of people are buzzing about this Iowa State game. I haven't put a lot of research into this one. I've been more NFL. I do have a couple of college spots circled here that we'll get to, including the next game in the rotation. But Iowa and Iowa State, everyone's buzzing about this game. Guy do a radio show, Cam Stewart. You love this guy. He's on the Cyclones here. What do you make of this one? Iowa last week too, very impressive because everyone, the Hill kid, Wyoming, and all that. Wyoming were a trendy play last week at the Westgate in Las Vegas, and Iowa beat them down pretty easily.
Yeah, they're just a nice football team, Gabe. They're a take your lunch pail to work type of football team. Frentz doesn't get any credit. He consistently recruits pretty well there, especially defensively. I mean, they just have those big bruising Iowa farm boys, the big kids that can throw 6,000 hay bales and not get tired. I was impressed with what they did against Josh Allen last week. Here's the problem, though. I think Iowa State's improved. Obviously, this is a different game. You kind of throw everything out of the window, and Iowa State has not had any success. They've been a bad team for a long time. I like Jacob Park. I like Matt Campbell, a coach there. They have a great receiver, Gabe, also, and Alan Lazard. Look for him to make some big plays tomorrow. I think they hang around in this game. I'm not sure that I want to grab them. I said earlier in the week I kind of liked it, but that Iowa team was impressive last week. I kind of like the under a little bit. I feel like this is a lower scoring, 23-20 type of game. I know you said you don't like unders, but I could see the reasoning for the Cyclones. But after last week, it's hard to fade Iowa. They look really impressive defensively.
Yeah, it is. And people always seem to like the underdog in this series. It's a revenge spot. Iowa beat the crap out of them, but at 3 points, I'm not getting in front of the Big Ten in this spot. All right, here's a game I do like, actually. I think a lot of people were surprised last week about Louisville not blowing Purdue out, but we're talking about Purdue. I have a lot of respect for Coach Brom. And good to see Joey Odessa kicking it in the chat.
Joey.
I have a lot of respect, actually, for Coach Brom. So I think, he's really going to do a great job with the Boilers. So you got Louisville last week. I was impressed with Lamar Jackson. I followed this guy. I forget his name. I don't know. There's a bunch of these everyone's a quarterback guru now, but there's a bunch of dudes on Twitter breaking down the film and the footwork and all this. But I was watching Lamar Jackson's footwork and very, very poised in the pocket. At times last year, the kid would have just taken off. Last week, he stood in the pocket, very, very poised, NFL-like, was throwing darts, throwing bullets. He's a poised quarterback. He's a Heisman Trophy winner. They're going into North Carolina team that allowed a very, very young Cal team to go into Chapel Hill and put 35 up on them. I love the over in that game last week. It ended up getting there in the end. Here we have a total of 63 right now. This is my first bigger play of the day. I'll step up to the window. Give me the over, Louisville, North Carolina, over 63.
Yeah, I agree with you. I also like Louisville in this game. I said early in the season, I thought that UNC would be one of the worst teams in the ACC this year. You just can't lose that amount of talent that they lost this year and really be that competitive. I mean, I know Larry Fedora's done some really good things there. He's a good offensive guy, but they just lost so much talent, Gabe. You know that. And they allowed a Cal team who was a 12.5-point underdog to come in there and win. Pretty disgusting, if you ask me. I agree. I like the over here. Louisville should put up a lot of points. Like I said, I do think I would take them to cover here. Anything under 10, I think, looks good. I think this is like a 41-28 type of game. I like Lamar Jackson. I mean, how can you not? And the problem, Gabe, that I have is I don't know that I really trust North Carolina. They just – so many weapons gone from last year's team.
I agree. I think this is a rout. I think Louisville last week sort of got their feet wet against Purdue. It was a big spot, where the Colts play, neutral field, etc. I think they pull away as well. I'm going to be looking at Louisville. I don't like college teasers. I usually don't recommend that, but I wouldn't mind a Louisville down to 2.5 over 56. But I think we get there over 63. I think Louisville get into the mid 40s. And North Carolina should be able to get into the 20s.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson should carve this defense up. I mean, they have had so many problems on defense, UNC, for so many years. I remember when Gene Chizik, everyone thought he was going to change it. He did some good things, but they're just dreadful defensively.
All right, so not a lot of sentences have ended well that start with, I think I'm going to bet on Rutgers tomorrow. I think that's how guys end up. That's how guys end up fucking in pepperoni in somebody's pizza. Fuck. It's like there's a place in Montreal called Mike's Pizzeria, all right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of mobsters in Montreal. And a buddy of mine was the driver there. And I said, oh, it's great. You got a job at Mike's Pizza. And he goes, yeah. He goes, I'll tell you what, though, fuck. He goes, whatever you do, he goes, don't order the pepperoni. He goes, you never know who's in it, fuck.
Yeah, they'll throw you in the fucking oven, Gabe.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, exactly. I'm like, all right, fuck, you know. And now, I'm just kidding. Mike's is a nice family establishment now.
Go eat their pizza. It's great. Just don't order the pepperoni.
It actually is good pizza. But yeah, so Rutgers, very impressive. You and I talked about this game a little bit. Rutgers against Washington. You know, I don't know what to make of it. They did hit Jake Browning really fucking hard earlier in that game. And Browning's bell was rung. Peterson left him out there, but I like the confidence and the attitude. You can just see the different sort of culture change around the Scarlet Knights last week. I like the fact they're playing back-to-back home games. I like the fact in a similar situation to Purdue, they played against Louisville. Now, and then tonight they played against Ohio. They get a step down in class right now. And listen, my cousin played hockey for Eastern Michigan. I've always had a soft spot in my heart for Eastern Michigan. I'm a Michigan fan. And, of course, you remember our old DC took over the program there. And Eastern Michigan used to be an 0-12 team, guys. They used to be like bottom of the fucking barrel, worst of the worst. Terrible. You know, like they were going to shut them down because they couldn't get the minimum 16,000 at a game type of shit. They're sort of turning this program around a bit, but they're still Eastern Michigan. It's still a MAC team on the road against a non-conference opponent, against a Rutgers team, technically a Big Ten team with much bigger athletes, a little bit of confidence, and looks like they have themselves a quarterback as well, man.
You know, if you want to win and make a bowl game, you gotta get the job done in games like this. This is a carbon copy of tonight's game between Purdue and Ohio.
It really is, isn't it? It's a step down in class, you know?
Yeah, and here's the question. I mean, one of the questions is, do you want to lay points at Rutgers? And I don't think I do. Second of all, I like what Chris Creighton's done at Eastern Michigan. This was a bowl team last year, had a great bowl game against Old Dominion down at the Bahamas Bowl. It's great for those kids. Rutgers doesn't have a look-ahead game or anything. They play the Morgan State Bears next week, so they have the opportunity to start out 2-1 here. Gabe, I just can't bring myself to lay points at Rutgers. I'm not saying they won't cover. I'm not saying that Eastern Michigan's a great football team.
I think they'll be able to bully them and run the ball down their throat.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, look.
I think they're just going to give it to Gus Edwards, pound the ball, big old lineman. I think Eastern Michigan will wear out.
And historically, they have been a disgraceful rushing defense. They were better last year, EMU, but they're not great. Yeah, look, I can't disagree with you. I'd prefer to get it at a pick'em. So I know you don't like teasers in college, and I don't much either anymore. But it wouldn't hurt me to take a money line play.
What about the over 51.5? You think we can get there? Listen, you mentioned Charlotte earlier. Eastern Michigan's got a decent offense. They can move the football, this team.
Yeah, and I think both teams will. I think these teams will get into the high 20s. I could see that. I think, I like Jerry Kill. I think he's a good play caller. I think he'll do some good things there. But, yeah, I lean – just because I really don't want to lay points at Rutgers. I'm going to just pass on this one. I'll let you have fun with it. But just remember, listen, I have a short home in New Jersey. I was just there for a number of weeks. I've been to Rutgers many times. I used to date a girl from Monmouth County. She looked just like Snooki from Jersey Shore. So, listen, I'm going to tell you,
right.
Rutgers, the stories they say are not true. It's a beautiful school. There's no more beautiful place than Central New Jersey. Don't believe all the rumors, Gabe.
All right. Yeah, I got to go there. I got a lot of friends down there in Jersey, actually. I used to take pot shots in Jersey, too. And I was going to move to New York last year. I was considering it. It was on the table, etc. So when I went down there, I actually, kept my head up, about where I would potentially live. And I always told myself, if I ever moved to New York, I'd actually live in New York. I wouldn't end up in Jersey or something, but I was like shocked. I was like, even Newark's not as bad as I remember it. Fuck, I was there during the day, but I was in Hoboken and Weehawken and all these places. And
Sure.
Yeah, Jersey was actually a hell of a lot. The other
Do yourself a favor, Gabe. Go down to Point Pleasant, Long Branch, right on the shore. It's beautiful. It's one of the best places in the world.
All right, so I don't know if we still have our boy. There's my boy Nick Lewis getting hit. Too bad he couldn't hang on to that. Fuck, I need the points in this game. All right, let's see. Is Drusilla still with us? Probably is. Drusilla in New York, speaking of New York, is a big Alabama fan. So listen, they're laying 44 points right now against Fresno State. Let me drop some numbers on you here. Nick Saban is 1-9 against the spread, Jeff. 1-9 against the spread when laying 28 or more points against a non-conference opponent. He gets bored with these games. And Nick Saban gets his players so fucking fired up and revved up for the marathon of winning a championship. He's not going to berate them, and you know what I mean? Like, again, unless he dislikes the other coach. And another thing is, too, you can catch on to this. It's funny because they have next week they play Colorado State, too. Mm-hmm. So it's not like they have to get ready or anything for for SEC play. So, they made that series when McElwain was at Colorado State. And McElwain, now at Florida, came from Alabama. It was one of Saban's guys. Saban has so many coaches in the coaching tree now.
Sure.
You got to keep your eye on that. When he's going to play them, he's not going to embarrass them, right? And, man, it was free fucking money when he played Colorado State a couple of years ago. But I've caught on to this with Saban. They don't cover the number, man, when they're laying this wood against teams they don't care about. So the question is, though, can Fresno give us anything? Because Bama could get to 50 here. Can they give us 7? Then we have it. So I looked up the history, and I was like, all right, is there any history between him and Tedford? Do they know each other? Are they friends? Are they enemies, etc.?
I don't believe so.
No, there's none because Tedford was out on the West Coast his whole life, right? So they never really crossed paths. So Saban just said about Tedford, I have a lot of respect for his offensive prowess. I don't really know him. I saw the press conference. He was asked about him. But, yeah, so Saban is 1-9 against the spread when laying more than 28 points as a conference chalk. Another thing, 5-10 against the spread in home openers, Nick Saban. And, 5-10 against the spread because they're usually playing cream puffs and he doesn't care, right? And I talked about this with Mark Lawrence earlier in the week. I think Nick Saban would almost prefer that they're kind of sloppy so he can yell at them in practice and shit. You know what I mean? And then he can sort of build them up for SEC play. Long story short here, I know it takes a leap of faith to bet against Alabama in a spot like this, but the history tells us that Nick Saban doesn't care about covering these big numbers.
Yeah, I mean, again, though, I don't know that he's going to have to try that hard to do it here. I mean, Fresno State is really poor. I mean, they're really bad. And you look at last year, I mean, Alabama covered a lot of big numbers. I got to tell you, I think you're onto something, though. The big thing when you look at covering big numbers, and I bet a lot of big numbers. I have no problem doing it. I also grab a lot of big numbers. I took 47 week 1 with the Florida A&M Rattlers against Arkansas. If you could score a touchdown, you're going to have a chance to cover the number here. What do you have, 44?
Can Fresno score a touchdown? Like, let's say Bama gets to 50. Are they going to get to 56, Alabama?
No, I think their cap's probably 50, 51. I think they're going to have to score more than 7 to cover. I personally think. What do you got on the total, Gabe?
It's actually an even 50.
Yeah, I go over.
No, sorry. It's 53.5. My bad. 53.5. Sorry.
Yeah, listen.
53.5.
They beat Kent last year, 48-0. I know they should have.
And Kent are a significant lower tier than Fresno, though.
Yeah. By the way, Gabe, you might want to let Joey Odessa might rip Tom Marino's head off here in the chat box. They got some crazy shit going on here.
Don't worry, Joey. Tom Marino knows everything. He's you have Alexa, you have Siri, and you have Tom Marino.
Don't get me started on him, please.
Yeah,
please
you guys have. I'm new, right? You guys got a history there. I know, but yeah,
I can't stand him.
There's Tom Marino. There's nothing I say that he doesn't have a comeback for. I've given up. Fuck.
He's in every chat. That's what he does. But yeah, in this game, I mean, they should have covered last year against West Kentucky. If you remember that big touchdown they gave up late. Look, I don't want to grab the Fresno State here. I know they beat Incarnate Word last week, the Cardinals, which is but Incarnate Word, it sounds like a Catholic youth group down the street. But yeah, I don't have much on this one. I wouldn't bet against Alabama, though. I mean, Jalen Hurts needs a big game. He could have one tomorrow against Fresno. But you're right. I mean, I would look first half here if I'm going to look anything.
All right, let's go on to some of the other games. I'll scroll down. Can't hit every one of them. What else do we have? Some of the bigger games. Pitt's getting 21 against Penn State. Nice to see that rivalry resumed again. I know they played last year, but Pittsburgh's getting 21 against Penn State, total 64 in that game. I'll ask you, since you are in Pennsylvania, any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I'm not grabbing the points. I'll lay it if I have to. I mean, we have to point out that Pittsburgh is – Narduzzi is grossly overrated. He was luckily at Michigan State. They recruited well there. You had D'Antonio by his side. You look at what he's done at Pittsburgh. This has been a horrible defense since he got there. They struggled last week against Youngstown State. I know Bo Pelini does some good things there, but you got to have a bigger deficit over Youngstown State. I don't know that I trust Max Brown. He's a cast-off from USC. Wasn't good enough, clearly. Yeah, Penn State's rolling right now, Gabe. I mean, they're at home. Beaver Stadium's a great atmosphere. I think 21. If it's still 21, yeah, I'd lay it. I'd definitely lay it here. I think this is like a 35-10. I think they have trouble scoring. Penn State looked great last week defensively. They're back healthy again. They have good linebackers. And they run that up-speed offense. Yeah, Pittsburgh is really bad on defense, Gabe.
I can't believe how crazy it is, the correlations that we have with the similarities of the games. Like we talked about the game like from last night being identical to again tomorrow. Yeah. And then we have another one again here, with the step down in competition. We have another one again, similar to the Rutgers game that we talked about, with the Kansas Jayhawks, a perennial bottom feeder, an obvious basketball program.
A shit show.
That's a good way of putting it, a shit show. But the Kansas Jayhawks, I know my good friend Mark Lawrence is extremely high on the Jayhawks. He's a real sleeper this year to make people money and cover some numbers. So it's very rare that you have in similar situation against a MAC team. So we have a Big 12 team laying 5 points against a MAC team. Tonight we saw a less than average, a bottom tier, and they're a bottom tier team, Purdue. A bottom tier Big Ten team beat the shit out of a very good MAC team tonight. So now we have Eastern Michigan against another Big Ten team. Now we have Central Michigan against a Big 12 team. What do you make of this one? And speaking of Michigan, Shane Morris, former Pioneer High School quarterback right across the street from Ann Arbor, the Big House. He's transferred, so he's over at Central Michigan. Nice signing for them. They won in overtime. What do you make of this one against the Jayhawks?
Yeah, and I want to dispel the rumor. Look, I know they played bad last week against Rhode Island, but we have to remember how great of a quarterback they lost in Cooper Rush. I mean, he's the all-time leading passer in MAC history. I mean,
backup quarterback in Dallas right now.
Yeah, that's not easy to just say, you know what, we're going to move on from it. They still have some good skill position players.
He's Dan Lefevre, man. Dan Lefevre is the best Central Michigan quarterback ever. Don't you forget it.
Well, other than Cooper Rush, I think. But again,
Dan Lefevre made me more money.
Wow, you might be right. Cooper Rush is great, though. Let's put it that way. We can agree with that. Again, this is another question, Gabe. Do you want to lay points with Kansas? Okay, Mark Lawrence is a great guy. He's a pioneer in this business, but I got to tell you, I can't disagree more. I think Kansas is bad. When you're giving your coach raises when he's 2-22 over the last couple of years, not sure I understand that. This is more just, to me, this seems like, hey, we'll give you a trophy because you won 6th place kind of thing. They give everyone trophies nowadays. This is really just about, I guess they see a little positivity with David Beatty. I don't know that I see it, though. Yeah, look, I think it's a different situation here because it wouldn't surprise me to see a Big 12 team lose to a team like Central Michigan. It would surprise me if a Big 10 team did. But I mean, TCU almost loses to teams like this every year. I mean, they almost lose to South Dakota State every year, it seems like. I'm not.
For the record, listen, they played in 2014, which was probably in the Lefevre era, actually, if not so, or maybe a little after. That's actually after. Kansas beat them by 14. All right, they've only played twice. They played in 2007. Kansas beat them 52-7. 2014, they beat them 24-10. Last week, Central Michigan, they beat Rhode Island 30-27. They were 34.5-point favorites.
Didn't play well in that game.
Meanwhile, the Kansas won 38-16 against Southeast Missouri State.
Yeah, not a great performance either. Look, I agree.
They were 30-point favorites.
I agree with Bobano here on the chat. I mean, I think Kansas will be a little bit better. I guess if you think 3 wins is better, I'll salute. Good for you. I'm not crazy about laying 5.5 points here.
I think it goes over. I think this game goes over. There'll be some points in this one. I can't lay 5 either with this one.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. Gabe, I got to ask you about a game. 339, 340. Again, I think we're putting a lot of stock into week 1. Facing Vanderbilt and facing Syracuse is a whole different story. Middle Tennessee's offense was hamstrung last week. Vandy did a fantastic job. I had Middle Tennessee in that game. It was a poor performance. But one thing we have to realize is the defensive coordinator at Syracuse or at Middle Tennessee is Syracuse's old coach, Scott Schaefer. He knows this team well. He knows what they do. I think 10.5 points is a lot. I think this game goes down to the wire. I think Middle Tennessee was humbled week 1. They just can't beat Vanderbilt. They had trouble doing it last year, had trouble doing it this year.
Vanderbilt's a good team this year, man. Vanderbilt are going to be a good team this year.
They are. I agree with you. They have a great defense, too. Look out, Alabama.
I agree with you here. I don't understand the point spread in this one either. I would argue that Middle Tennessee State have better athletes than Syracuse, or at least as equal of athletes in this spot. Getting double digits, I'll ride the dog with you in this one for sure.
I'm looking maybe money line here as well. I think why can't this come down to the final possession? We coin flip, money line, we have the spread. I'll take it. A 74 looks good for an over, too. This one has, to me, 44-40 written all over it.
You know, a game that earlier in the week, I was looking at Auburn, and I'm a big Jarrett Stidham guy. I like Jarrett Stidham. I liked him at Baylor. I like Seth Russell at Baylor, too, but he got fucking hit hard, and they left him out there, and he became dumb after. But so Stidham got out of there. He's at Auburn. You know, he was pretty good last week. He was like 14-24, 138 yards or so against Georgia Southern. But you could see the confidence and the happiness with the kids on Auburn. Sort of, hey, we got a quarterback now. You can tell. But nevertheless, it's sort of like a band. First one, so it's like, oh, shit, fuck. Now we're playing with Metallica in front of 180,000 people. And, yeah, you know, nice little win against Georgia Southern. I think Auburn are very good. I think they're going to be a good team. I think Auburn will be one of these teams that gets better as the season goes on even. But without being stated, I think Clemson as the defending national champions are being undervalued here, laying 5. I know it was Kent State last week, but Kelly Bryant looks very comfortable in this offense. And, you know, people don't talk about Clemson's defense enough. I understand Deshaun Watson's gone, but these guys have a fearsome defensive line. Their speed is second to none on the defensive side of the football. It's a Saturday night home game against the defending national champions. Clemson have beaten these guys the last 3 times they played by an average of 9 points. Point spread feels a little low. It seems like people are trying to talk themselves into taking Auburn here. You know, maybe Auburn hang around for a little while, but ultimately, I think the number's more than fair. I'm laying the 5, and I'm an underdog guy more than anything, but I'll lay the 5 with the Clemson Tigers here.
Yeah, I've been going back and forth about this game. It's probably going to be a pass for me, but I do hear you. I think their defensive line, Clemson's probably the best in the country. I mean, Venables just does a great job with them, that defense year after year. And look, Kelly Bryant did look good. The problem you have is Kent State quit after like the second series. You're basically playing against a JV team. But yeah, Auburn's a question mark to me. Could they get back to the Nick Marshall days or the even better Cam Newton days? I don't know. Again, Stidham's a guy I want to see a little bit more. This is a hard test going into Death Valley Saturday night. You know, second game of the season. It's going to be rocking there. Clemson does have Louisville next, but they're focused on this one. I agree with you. I'm not getting involved with this game, but I got to tell you, I mean, if you like Rutgers, tease them down, tease Clemson down. You got a pretty nice teaser there, maybe.
Yeah, or a money line parlay. It would probably turn into plus money. But no, I'm comfortable. I'll lay the 5. Like I said, I'm comfortable here. Auburn and the SEC mystique coming in here. I just think Clemson are being undervalued at 5 points. It's a fair number. All right, let's take a look at some of the big games. Georgia and Notre Dame. I'll admit I got burnt. I took Temple last week. I didn't bet huge on it, but nevertheless, I had Temple. Obviously, didn't work out very well for me. Wimbush looked good for Notre Dame last week. They get the Georgia Bulldogs. Now, it's too bad that Eason's going to be out, and he is going to be out. It's not out for the year, but he's out for this football game. Jake Fromm came in, looked pretty good against App State, but this is a different situation going into South Bend on a Saturday night. You know, to me, Georgia, they're like the Dallas Cowboys. You know, they're flashy. They got hot chick fans and cheerleaders and cool uniforms and big money and all this, but they're underachievers. And, you know, Rick was a good coach, but, you know, to me, this is a game that Georgia should win. You know, like if you guys are and the SEC is what you say it is and you guys are what you say you are, then you guys should be able to beat Notre Dame in this spot or at least cover the 5.5. Can we argue that Nick Chubb is still the best player on the field? But, you know, the fact is, and I heard Feinbaum bring it up, and it's pretty simplistic, but it's true. He said, and he's Mr. fucking SEC. He said, I would take Georgia if Easton was there, but, you know, you got a kid in Fromm that, you know, he's a high school quarterback last year. He's going to be playing on NBC Saturday night under the lights. What do you think of this one? It's up to 5.5 right now.
Yeah, I actually, a lot of these big schools, I go there, I go through every game in their schedule and I kind of pick winner and loser. And for the season, I took Georgia to beat Notre Dame. That was with Eason. And even without Eason, I'm still okay betting them. I like them here, +6, +5.5. I think Fromm will come in. As long as he doesn't make any mistakes, I think they're going to be fine. They're going to be able to lean on not one, but 2 elite running backs. I think initially this will be a close game, but I think they'll wear down Notre Dame a little bit later in the game. My question is, can Wimbush, because we know Fromm's young. Wimbush is young too. Wimbush is 19. Wimbush is a young kid as well.
And Georgia, even though Georgia, sorry to cut you up there, but you're right. Even Georgia and touchdown BC Lions, right? We're getting some points going here. Georgia, I understand Easton's out, but Georgia, a very experienced team, as you know, Jeff. They've got a shitload of returning starters back. So they can handle the moment. It's just, can the quarterback handle the moment?
And they have Notre Dame has a major problem up front on the defensive line. They do not have a good defensive line. There are a lot of young kids up there, not a lot of player makers from last year's team. Yeah, they're going to be good at the second level, but can they stop up front? Can they stop these 2 running backs? I'm going to go with Georgia. I think they're going to win this game. I think they're going to clearly cover and win. I just wonder, is Wimbush, he can move around with his legs. We have to point out Temple is not Georgia on defense. Georgia, I think, is one of the better defenses at long term in the country. I think he's going to have to make some throws. I'm not comfortable he can do that against Georgia. I think they're a really good defensive team, and I think they're just going to wear them down in the run game. I think Georgia will win this game. I think they need to win this game. Look out for them in the SEC. Really impressive win last week. Many people think, well, it's just App State. App State's a really good Sun Belt team. They usually take teams.
Yeah, they fucking nailed it in. I had App State in the over, man. It really pissed me off. The Taylor Lamb and shit. Dude, they were running the ball up the middle down 28, 28-0. It's like, it was real pain. I was disappointed. App State really rolled over. Like, I guess they figured we're not coming back. We're not winning. They rolled over. Like, they were running the ball.
No,
like basically they quit. Like, they basically quit,
No, they definitely did. I was surprised at the lack of toughness from them. That's usually not something that you see from Satterfield's teams. I do, Gabe, think this total's getting a little too high. 59 at Pinnacle. It's around 58.5 everywhere else. I don't think this one – I think this one gets to around 50. I think it's a lower-scoring football game. I think you have 2 quarterbacks that are a little inexperienced. Like I said, I don't think Wimbush has the ability to be great in the passing game. I think there's going to be a lot of punts early on in this game. Defense is going to have to come to play. Notre Dame's going to have to come to play tomorrow defensively because they can't be that normal sieve they've been in the last couple of years. I'm looking under as well, but I think Georgia gets the chicken here.
Yeah, Nick Chubb, an NFL caliber running back, should be the best player on the field, and Sonny Michel as well. It's a nice 1-2 punch that they have.
Great 1-2 punch.
Yeah, it's gonna, even with the young quarterback, and Fromm was very poised. They said, this kid doesn't rattle easy. So another big game, and it's interesting because Georgia have disappointed in big games in the past, but I'm with you, Jeff. I'm getting tempted by the 5.5 points here. Plus, I hate Notre Dame.
And this is a different Georgia team. Kirby Smart's a different coach. And like I said, Fromm might get rattled, but Wimbush might too. I mean, he's young. He's not Deshaun Kaiser. I mean, so yeah, I think this is going to be two rattled quarterbacks, and I'm going to take Michelle and Chubb over everyone. So yeah, I think it's going to come down to the wire. I know we talked to Dave Mason at Bet Online a little bit earlier on our closing line show, and he mentioned that public's all over Georgia in this game for good reason. They're going to need Notre Dame tomorrow, but hey, public wins sometimes, Gabe.
All right, Oklahoma and Ohio State, and you know what? As long as Joey Odessa is here, we'll throw some MMA picks out too. I know you like your combat sports as well, Jeff. So we got a card tomorrow.
I'd like to hear his opinion on. I know Roman Gonzalez is fighting tomorrow. I actually already bet him. I parlayed him with someone else. Big favorite tomorrow, and I'd like to hear his Canelo Triple G stuff. I talked about it today on the SBR, but yeah, I'm down for anything, Gabe.
Oklahoma and Ohio State. So I picked Ohio State to go to the national championship game this year. I said they would lose to Alabama. That was my prediction. I put USC. Oklahoma State, Alabama, Ohio State. I'm wondering about USC now. We'll get to USC Stanford in a second. So Ohio State went in there and laid a fucking beatdown on them in Norman. It's probably one of the reasons why Stoops is gone now and decided to ride off into the sunset. He wasn't big game Bob, but, it's been a long time since they won. How do they go in here and beat them? You got Baker Mayfield. People are raving about their offense last week, but they were a better team last year, in my opinion. They had more talent last year, and they got their ass handed to them. And Urban Meyer's just a beast, man. The guy's 61-7 in his career straight up against non-conference opponents. Oklahoma on paper, you can sort of make the argument for them and try to make a case for them, but ultimately they just fall apart in big games like this. And they have over and over and over, as I stated. I'm not one of these guys that says, but last year, I hate people that just sort of remember what they saw last. But we've seen this last over and over with Oklahoma. And if Oklahoma lost by 21 on their home field, how are they going to go into the shoe on a Saturday night and beat these guys? Even though I will state, Ohio State offense is a little pedestrian. It did get going a little bit. JT Barrett's just not a great quarterback, all right? He's not a great pocket passer. It is what it is. If he's not a great passer now after, what's this, Jeff, his 13th year of college football? So, he's one of these guys been around longer than a BYU quarterback. Fuck.
Well, it's because they had, Cardell Jones, Braxton Mill. I mean, they had 8,000 quarterbacks at one time. It does seem like he's been there a while, though.
Okay, so he survived them all somehow. So, but with all that being stated, I can't trust Oklahoma here. I think the number's too low too. There's going to be points. I think Oklahoma will be able to score, but Oklahoma just fucking fall apart all the time in these games. I can't take the Sooners here, no matter what people try to tell me.
Yeah, it's actually interesting, Gabe. I don't know if you know, but he actually was on the same team with Maurice Clarett and Jim Tressel several years ago, JT Barrett. So he has been there for a while. We might want to check his school records. I'm actually going to tell you, Gabe, I've moved in Oklahoma. I took him at 7.5. I know, they don't win games like this, but that was with Bob Stoops. That wasn't with their new coach, Lincoln Riley. Baker Mayfield is.
Yeah, but he's a rookie. You got a 33-year-old fucking kid going in there. He's really going to beat Urban Meyer?
Sure. No, I hear you. And look, losing Jordan Parker in the secondary is huge for them. They lost their best secondary player. That hurts. But you said it. I don't know that JT Barrett's a great quarterback. He's a great dual threat guy, but can he throw the football downfield? I don't know if he can. And you have to remember also, there's a lot of talent in the Ohio State secondary, but this is a huge stage against the Heisman Trophy winner, if you ask me. I think Baker Mayfield's going to win the Heisman Trophy. They're going to get tested real quick in this football game. I think it's a war. I really do. I think it comes down to the wire. I think it's one of those great Saturday night football games. It's going to come down to the last possession. I could see overtime. I think the 7's going to be really profitable here. Again, if I lose, I lose, but I think I'm on the right side. I really do. I like J.K. Dobbins. I like some of the guys they have at Ohio State, but they did lose a lot last year. And I think Richard Legault kind of gave you a little blueprint on if you could throw 60 times, you might have a chance in Baker Mayfield here. They're a better team, clearly, than Indiana. They're going to have better opportunities, and I think they are a team that's going to hang around here. I don't know that Ohio State is quite ready to blow a team like this out. I just don't know that I see a 45-24 game like last year.
The Aggies last week covered against the Sun Devils, so let's just blast through rapid fire. Now they're getting 7 against the Lobos here. Is that too many points? That offense looked real good last week.
You said New Mexico State, New Mexico?
Yeah, that Aggie offense, New Mexico State last week looked real good.
I'm really high on New Mexico. I love this rush offense. I think they're kind of like a poor man's Navy. Good coach in Bob Davies. Does some good things.
He's done a great job out there, yeah.
He really has. And I got to tell you, they were kind of a sleeper to me in the Mountain West. I mean, I know there's some good teams out there, but New Mexico, best rushing offense in the country last year. New Mexico State's a decent team. They've improved, but this is a lot less than laying what Arizona State was last week. They have a bad defense. They can't get stops. New Mexico will be up for this game. It's a border war. I like the Lobos in this game. I think the spread's a little too low at home here.
All right. Our boy Babano, who did great stuff. Watch the video. Babano was on with us, the Fantasy Sports Network, earlier in the day, and Babano was singing English beat, old new wave shit. I wouldn't advise him to do it again, but it was funny. Texan, I know that he was talking about the Roadrunners, beep, earlier in the week, getting 15.5. How did Baylor respond after the embarrassment of losing to Liberty?
Yeah, I think this is – I told you, I thought it was the worst loss I've ever seen from a high-rated program. I'm not getting anywhere near Baylor. UTSA is a good football team. Dylan Sturm's a good quarterback. I'd like them to kind of go over and kind of just deal with a team right now that I don't think their head's in it. You can't lose to Liberty. I'm sorry. And this UTSA team is going to throw the football. They saw what they saw last week. Baylor gave up 447 passing yards. Matt Rule has a lot more undertaking here than I think he thought. I'm not crazy to go and lay 2+.
How the hell do we not bet the over 58 in this game?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Baylor overs are going to be great cashers for the rest of the year. They can move the football, and they can't stop you, me, and a couple of our listeners. So, yeah, I agree. 58's the over for me in this one.
Stanford, USC down to 5.5 right now. We got our boy Brooks. He loves the USC Trojans, so be careful what you say about him. I'm kind of leaning Stanford, but the number's getting low enough, and it's a tough enough game that I might talk myself out of taking it. But it's hard to overlook the fact, man. It's fucking David Shaw and Stanford are on an 11-3 ATS run as underdogs. Like, the guy's just a moneymaker. He's a great coach. They're a physical football team. We talked about it. Western Michigan was able to rush for like 263 yards on the Trojans. Was that an anomaly? Was it first game nerves? Stanford, did what they wanted. Bryce Love is a great running back. McCaffrey's not there, but he offense efficient. Keller Chris hasn't lost a game as a starter yet with Stanford. Stanford are just always undervalued. Stanford are just, they have boring uniforms and nobody thinks, anything of them, but they're just a physical fucking football team. But it's 5.5 points and nothing to the USC Trojans. We're talking about Georgia not winning big games. We're talking about we said Georgia can't win big games. Oklahoma haven't won big games. Well, I'll tell you what. I don't know if Clay Helton can win a big game. He can recruit, and they can have sexy song girls and all that shit. But if the USC Trojans are for real, they need to win a game like this. Can they? What do you think?
Yeah, this is one of the easiest jobs in football. I mean, you go there, you recruit, you don't do much recruiting. They just come to you, and you still can't win. They haven't had anything since Pete Carroll, and I don't know they're going to. Yeah, look, they're the polar opposite coaching-wise. David Shaw, I think, is one of the best coaches in the country. He has a great game plan for this game. You can better believe it. They had plenty of time to prepare for this one. And you mentioned the rush defense. They gave up 263 yards to Western Michigan, the Broncos. Bryce Love is going to run all over this football team. They're smart kids. They know how to play football. And I worry about USC's offensive line. They gave up 2 sacks and 4 tackle for losses last week. They have 3 new linemen. I'm not sure if they're ready to go in this game. They're a bruising defense, Stanford. I think they have one of the better secondaries in the country. I think they're extremely underrated, and they just do their job. You don't hear much about them. Gabe, I'm sitting on them at 110-1 to win the whole thing.
Nice.
I think this will go towards a long way towards getting there if they can get the job done here. USC's pissed off. They're going to come out and play well here, but that's all we hear always from USC. Well, they're going to rebound here. They're going to get the job done here. They got the great quarterback in Darnold. He was good last week. He did have 2 interceptions, and you could maybe say they were looking ahead to this game, but now you got to put on the helmet and play the football game. Stanford is really underrated. I love Keller Christ. I think he's a warrior. Gabe, I've heard that they call him at Stanford a medical miracle. I can't believe he played last week. After like 5 months after he had a gruesome injury, he's in there playing. Unbelievable. I think they're going to have a special season this year, Stanford.
It sets up nicely for them, too. They had that awkward Australian trip.
Yep.
But they took care of business, and they played a football team that they hard to get up for, that they beat last year already, that they had to play again in Rice. But they took care of business. They come back, then they get the bye week. They get to watch USC. And the beautiful thing is, too, and Helton is almost like playing in a survivor pool, Jeff. USC didn't get the coast. USC didn't just get to hand the football off and not show anything. USC had to roll their playbook out last week. Yep. Like, they had to sweat it out to win that football game, man. That game was fucking tied with like 6-7 minutes left. That final score is the most deceptive final score ever. That old cliche, well, it's closer than the final score indicated, is really the case in that football game with Western Michigan and USC last week. So Stanford have the tape to break down, confident, fresh. USC a little bit rattled right now, I think. And I don't think we can underestimate this either. Coaching is big in college football. And I think that, David Shaw is way up here and Clay Helton's way down here, man. Clay Helton's got to prove this, but, you can't disagree with that, right? Like, David Shaw is an NFL caliber coach, all right?
I agree.
One ball left, there was no drop-off for the program. And he doesn't have Andrew Luck. How about this, too? 12-3 against his spread, last 15 games as an underdog, Stanford Cardinals. The guy's just a great fucking coach. He's going to be prepared for this game.
No, I know. I agree with you 100%. I agree. I think he's a top 5 coach in the country. He hasn't left Stanford, though. He's got a great gig out there. Good campus, beautiful area. He gets great kids. And he does it. He always does it with second best. I mean, he hasn't had a quarterback ever. I mean, really. I mean, Kevin Hogan. I mean, what was that? I mean, Kevin Hogan was nothing special.
Chris is better than Hogan. Better athlete.
Sure. And of course, Don Marino doesn't think that they can win Why can't they win a national championship with Keller Chris? Why can't they? Why can't they?
Joey's bringing up that 79% of people are on Stanford. That sucks.
Right? Oh, listen, and again, Dave Mason, we had him on early. He agreed. Listen, this is definitely a public darling, Stanford. I don't really trust USC. I think they have a lot of little problems that I don't know if they've gotten better. Their offensive line's not great. They don't have a go-to wide receiver like Juju Smith-Schuster. They don't have their defense is skeptical. I was on Western Michigan last week. I thought it was way too many points. I thought the Broncos are a team that's going to be right there. Culture's still there. Yeah, I would grab the points. The public stuff scares me for sure, but you give David Shaw plenty of time. I'm gonna want to grab the points as opposed to fading them.
All right, two more games. Boise State and Washington State. A little bit surprised to see the Broncos getting double digits here.
Yeah, but they're not very good, and they don't ever do anything in the Mountain West.
Are Washington State very good? I think Washington State are way overrated.
No, I think Leach is one of my favorite coaches.
Me too. He's a funny interview, but his teams, how'd they do in the bowl game last year? Fucking Minnesota had fucking half their team suspended for raping somebody, and they couldn't put it in the end zone. I think Luke Falk is one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the country. Wow. You talk about a kid that fucking chokes. Like, I don't give a shit how many fucking yards he throws for. This kid's a choker in big games. He just is. I don't trust them. I don't trust them. They're better as an underdog. I don't trust them laying the points.
Yeah, no, you make a good point. I mean, they're a great underdog. I hear you. I think I love Falk. I think he's fantastic. But I think overall, you got to remember, it did beat Miami 2 years ago in a bowl game. But I hear you. They didn't play well last year in that bowl game. And laying 10 points is interesting. You don't see this very often. Boise State, though, is not Boise State. I mean, they lost a ton last year. And, Gabe, they don't win in the Mountain West. How fucking many times do I get to hear that they're going to win the Mountain West this year? Since they got to the Mountain West, Gabe, you know how many times they've been to the conference championship?
I know. It's been a while. Fuck, dude. What, 4 years or something? One?
And they've been one time. San Diego State
once. What, like 2012 or something?
Yep. Brian Harsin is overrated. This team is overrated. I just don't think they're very good. Pullman is a really tough place to play. And you know what's crazy, Gabe? This is not the typical Washington State team. This is not the typical air raid offense. They love to run the football now. They're a much better defensive team. Alex Grinch has done a great job with this defense. They got these Samoan and Tongan kids up front. I think a lot of people are going to look at Boise and say, wow, they're getting 10 points here. I know you don't like Falk. I do. I think he's a little better than people think. He's a great passer. He is a statue, though. I won't disagree with you.
This is the first one that I'll sincerely disagree with. I think people are overreacting to them only beating Troy 24-13 without realizing Troy are probably the best football team in the Sun Belt. All right? Troy are a good football team coming into this year. It was a nice performance for them. You know, I just can't overlook the fact. Look at this. So I'm looking right now. Last year they played, all right, in Boise. Boise State were fucking was 13.5-point favorites. Now they're 10.5 here. It's a 23-point fucking swing.
Right.
It's insanity here. Like our boys, I don't see it. To me, this game comes down to the wire. I really don't understand this. I might be missing something, and I haven't capped the fuck out of this game or anything like that, so I'll admit it. But I can't make a legitimate argument for Washington State being double-digit favorites here. I just can't.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's warranted. I agree with one of the chat guys, Chris Edge. You know, I'm only looking to back Boise on the blue turf. But I will say last year they were a much better team. They had Thomas Spurbeck. They had Jeremy McNichols, who, by the way, was cut from the Atlanta Falcons on TV.
No, I'll disagree, though, with Chris Edge. Boise are bad home favorites, all right? They lay too many points because they're overhyped. I will agree. Boise are a little bit overrated of a program right now. But at home, they don't cover those numbers. They barely covered or was a push, depending on what you got it last week against Troy. To me, I just don't think Washington State are good enough to be double-digit favorites against Boise State. I don't.
I'll look forward to this one. It's late night. I love too.
I'm fired up now. We're going to be trolling each other on Twitter during the game. I'll be like, I fucking told you.
I love me some Washington State, Gabe. I love me some Mike Leach. And I got to tell you, I know he's a weird guy, but I think he's a hell of a football coach, to be honest with you. I think
he is, but I don't want to lay 11 points with him here.
I'm going to do it, Gabe. I think this is 45-28. We'll see what happens.
All right, 45-28. All right, and finally in closing, we say the best for last. The last game on the board is actually an upset special that I like. I liked it better when it was 5. I'm not scared of it now, but I liked it better when it was 5 just because of the money line was better in the plus 150 range. This is for our boy Chris Edge in San Diego, SDSU. The San Diego State Aztecs go into Arizona State and put a fucking pitchfork into these fucking motherfuckers. You want to talk about a choking fucking program? Listen, Joey's in the chat right now, so Joey knows this. My boy Randall Ailman, Ryan Bader, CB Dalloway, Aaron Simpson. I'm tight with the ASU crew. These guys make a living. I think they opened their gym betting against the Arizona State football. All right? Arizona State wrestlers have fucking told me, never bet on the football team. We always bet against them. All right? They're a choking program. The only thing that bothers me is that fucking San Diego State has to play Stanford next week. But I don't think Coach Long's going to let these kids look ahead to that. This is a big Pac-12 game for them that they can put a feather in their cap and beat a Pac-12 team on the road, a very beatable Pac-12 team that just allowed the quarterback of New Mexico State, a football team and program that is so low tier, they're getting booted from the Sun Belt. They're getting asked to leave the belt. That's like getting asked to leave a bar, a sleazy bar. You have to go. They threw for 398 yards or whatever it was on these guys. San Diego State, to me, they're going to win this game outright. I think they win the game outright. It's plus 135 on the money line.
And you better believe they're not worried about going to play this game either. Last 2 bowl games for SDSU, Houston and Cincinnati, they've outscored them 76-17. And yes, that was with Greg Ward and with all those great players on Houston. So they're not scared to go play.
16-2 in conference play, winning average margin of victory 24. The Aztecs are on a fucking tear right now. They're their own hurricane. You know what I mean? Like the last few years.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think this is a really good play on the Aztecs. I got it at 4. I know it's down to 3.5 at this point. I think they win this game outright. Arizona State had major problems last week with New Mexico State. Rashad Penny is licking his lips to play this game. He sees that Arizona State rush defense in front of him. And, I got to tell you, I think one guy that's a little underrated on this team is their quarterback, Christian Chapman. Reminds me of Alex Smith. He's not going to blow your mind offensively. I know he did last night, but he's not going to normally blow your mind, but he doesn't make mistakes. Only 6 interceptions last year. He takes care of the football. He could give you the occasional first down or a big play. Defensively, they're good as well. I think Arizona State's a ticking time bomb. They don't know who their quarterback is. They have trouble stopping anyone. Their pass defenses. I mean, Gabe, it's hard to be the worst passing defense 2 years in a row. They did that last year. It's hard to imagine they do it again, but they're a mess defensively. I have no interest in backing them here. I don't care that it's in Arizona. SDSU has no problem being big teams, and I'm going to root for them here. I'm a big fan of this program. I've been out to Montezuma Mesa plenty of times. I've watched Kawhi Leonard in high school, shit on Jimmer Fredette. Or in college, it was great. Steve Fisher did some good things. Great athletic program out there. Beautiful place. The girls here that are like 10s are like 3s out there. Great women. Beautiful campus. I'll tell you what, Gabe, I could never live out there because I look so out of goddamn place. It's not even funny. And you can't get any good pizza either. So for me, I love the campus. I don't know if I could ever go there for good, but I like them here. They cover the number. I think they went outright.
There's the big man on campus breaking it down. Great stuff, big man. You're the best. And me and Big Man will be kicking it on Sunday night, watching the Giant Cowboy game together. Big Man likes to bet on boxing and MMA as well. We got Joey Odessa in the house. We got UFC 215 tomorrow in Edmonton, Alberta. Numbers right now. Valentina Shevchenko is a minus 120 favorite against Amanda Nunes, a defending champion. Amanda Nunes, and of course, they were supposed to fight a couple of months ago, but Nunes backed out the night before the fight. I think she bought herself some time. Shevchenko is she's more well-rounded than Nunes. Shevchenko's a beast, man. She's a good striker. She's tough as fuck. She's mentally tough. That Eastern European thing. She's good on the ground. She's got better cardio. Yeah, with all that being stated, Nunes, I think, just has that devastating fucking power. And I think Nunes, if she connects, she can really hurt Shevchenko. Now, they already fought, and it was close as hell. I like the over in this fight. That's my best bet in this fight. It's 2.5 rounds, minus 138. They went the distance last time. This time it's 5 rounds. And Amanda Nunes kind of knows her cardio is suspect. She has to pace herself a little bit here. But she has so much devastating fucking power. I'm going to bet the over 2.5. I'm always wrong with chick fights, but I'm going to bet the over 2.5. And I like Nunes in this fight.
You're never good with chick fights, though, huh?
No, it's like real life and with women. It doesn't work out for me.
Listen, I'm from the old school. I can't get in. I just can't. I don't like seeing women fight, man. It's not for me. I don't find it attractive.
It's not supposed to be attractive. It's a sporting event.
I don't think they should fight, though. My mother told me, any woman that fights is trash, and I got to agree with her. I can't get into it. I will say this, Gabe, and I want to shout it out.
What a Stevens and Melendez good fight.
Alir Latifi's fighting tomorrow. He's an Albanian. I'm an Albanian. I got the flag in front of me.
I think Pedro can beat him. I'm sorry.
Well, I shout out to my sheepdaughter, my shoku. I wish you all the luck in the world. And I hope he gets the job done. He hasn't fought in a while, but he's an Albanian, and we fight with our brothers. So, Sheepdar, I hope you get the job done. Tell me about Pedro. Can he beat him?
Yeah, I think he can, man. Pedro's 2-0 in the UFC. Devastating fucking power. 2 quick knockouts. This is a step up in class for him, but I think Pedro's going to be much faster. Latifi's like a big Sasquatch bear. He's kind of slow and shit, but he's got those heavy hands. Joey's saying them Jersey Albanians are mean. Who do you like, Joey, in that fight? You like Pedro or you like the Albanian?
Yeah, he's getting some plus money too. I usually bet on him when he fights just because, I got to bet for my countrymen here. I hope he says some good things, Joey. Come on, give me some love here, Joey. Give me some love for my sheepdog. I need a winner. But yeah,
and that Stevens Melendez fight's interesting. Yeah, I just wonder how much does Melendez have left in the tank right now? That's what I wonder there.
Well, I mentioned earlier we had a bookmaker on for BetOnline. He actually, I think he mentioned, I remember hearing him, Gilbert Melendez was taking some sharp money in this fight, from what I understand. But again, I'm more of a boxing guy. I do like some of the big fights, when Conor fights Nate Diaz and things like that. But me, Gabe, I'm a sweet science guy. Always have been, always will be. UFC's great, but again, now film read is actually
we'll have next week. We'll have the big boxing match next week to talk about.
Gabe, now Thurman is arguing that I'm not Albanian. So
I like when they're telling you what your nationality is.
The guy will argue about anything. It's truly amazing. Well, hey, Thurman, we don't know what you are because we've never seen you. You've never shown your face. You didn't call into my show when I asked you to. We don't know who you are. So
you asked him to call in so you could hear his voice.
We've asked him to call in many times, and he never would. He always had an excuse. Joey's saying Latifi has to move around. He is kind of a bear, though. He's a big guy.
Yeah, he is. Slow. Pedro, I think Pedro's going to tag him, man. It's not a best bet. It's a tough card tomorrow.
I hope you're wrong. But yeah, I'm
looking at my best bet here. I'm going the over in the main event, a 2.5 with Nunes and Shevchenko. Dos Anjos and Neil Magny. I want to say that since they really test for steroids, that Dos Anjos kind of isn't the same. So I can't lay minus 200 with Dos Anjos here. I got to take Magny as a dog. And sharp money on Melendez, but I don't know what Melendez has left in the tank. Right now, it's a tough one.
Yeah, from what I understand, there was some sharp money here on this, but I'm going to take your word on it. I'll take a shot with the girls tomorrow. I don't like seeing girls fight, but
take the over 2.5.
I will. I'm on it. I like it. Like I said, I also like Ramon Gonzalez to get the job done tomorrow against the Thai fighter. Chocolito gets the job done tomorrow. Big favorite. Gabe, in the first fight, he got absolutely screwed. It was a fucking robbery. They demanded that he fight again, this kid again. He is going to pound him into submission tomorrow. Roman Chocolito Gonzalez, many think is the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world before that fight. I think he gets the job done tomorrow against Sor Rungvisai. And I think Joey agreed with us here as well. So,
big man, you're a class act, bro. It's great kicking it with you and talking football and sports and fights. And we'll have some fun Sunday night. It'll be more casual. I don't know how much more casual I can get, but it'll be more casual Sunday night. Basically, Sunday night, I might get up and a lot and stuff and be out of the shot. And it might be, we'll have some fun with it. You know what I might do? I might set the camera up sort of so I'm not sitting like this. So it'll sort of just be me watching the game. It all depends how much money I have on it. And I'm not always crazy during games either. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. Sometimes, if I'm watching a game alone, to be honest, I can get really mad in silence. You know what I mean? Well, I don't yell, but I'm like, you motherfucker in my head. But we'll kick it Sunday night, and me and your boy Donnie will be talking football Sunday at noon. So great stuff, big man. Thanks for kicking it with us.
Yeah, I will say two last things. I will be throwing stuff probably during that game. Joey Odessa, Albanian mobsters in Jersey were vicious. Yeah, they're all locked up now. They're up in Fort Dix, and they're all gone. So they'll be out someday, I'm sure. Also, check out my Twitter. I have some great soccer plays for tomorrow. Premier League, Scotland, Germany. We got all sorts of good stuff going on the pitch. Gabe, thanks for having me. Love talking to you. I'll be back tomorrow with Peter Loshek, 11 o'clock, breaking down college football. See you Sunday, Gabe.
Hey, great stuff, man. Great stuff with the big man on campus. He fucking delivers, as you guys stated. They don't call him the big man on campus for nothing. All right, normally we wrap up around this time right now, but it's Friday. We'll go a couple of extra minutes. We can't keep guys here all night. But we'll take a quick break right now. We'll come back, and I'll blast through my best bets. We'll get solid. We talked about a million fucking games tonight. But I'll sort of lock it in. I'll say, all right, I'm betting this, I'm betting this, I'm betting that. And then I got to sit back, and I got to submit teams to 4 LV Westgate Super Contests. If you guys don't forget, you can win $25,000. You beat Jimmy the Bag. Go to sportsbookreview.com for information about that. All right, so, we'll take a quick break here if we can. Zach, we'll get the point spreads up, get the sheet up. I'll give you guys some late night metal, keep the party going, and we'll come back with our best bets of the weekend, man. Fired up for some football, no turning back. Let's get rich. And we got some fighting on the board as well. Tough UFC card, though. It's a tough card. I do like the over 2.5 in the women's main event, though. I really do. All right, thanks to the big man on campus for kicking it with us on the program here this evening. Great segment with the big man. This guy's asking how long the breaks are. Dude, we've just been on for 2 hours and 43 fucking minutes straight of talking football. Good to see you, Joey. Good to see you doing all right. Stay safe. I know you're in Florida right now. All right. So let us recap because we can't be here all night. Let us recap. I'll blast through my best bets. Well, I'll tell you what I'm betting right now. I'm going to add some shit because I'm a degenerate, but and as I stated, I have a video over the Fantasy Sports Network YouTube page. You can follow me on Twitter at Sports Rage. At Sports Rage on Twitter. I think the Arizona Cardinals are going to beat the Detroit Lions minus 130 on the money line. I like this game. I think it's going to go over. I like it on a teaser, though. Let's tease this shit down to 41 points, and let's tease the Raiders and the Titans down to 43.5. Two-team total teaser. Over 41 in the Detroit Lion game. Over 43 in the Raiders and the Titans. I ain't fucking around. I don't care about looking cool. I want to win money. And I know I'm going to win money with this teaser because there's no way these teams don't get into the 20s, Arizona and Detroit. Similar situation with the Raiders and the Titans. So we're going to take the Arizona Cardinals minus 130 money line. We're going to tease the over to Oakland and Tennessee to the over. I like the Cincinnati Bengals to beat the Baltimore Ravens. I'm a little bit concerned with the 3. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a push, but I think the Ravens are going to get it done. We talked about it. They've beaten them 4 out of the last 5 times and 5 out of the last 7 times they played. Joe Flacco hasn't practiced in the offseason at all. He didn't play in the preseason. They're throwing him out there on the field. And it's not like he has a lot of weapons to work with. I like the Baltimore-Cincinnati game a lot. I like the Bengals in this game. Bengals are going to win this game minus 145. Houston Texans. It's the biggest number I'm laying pretty much. I'm going to lay the 5 points with the Texans. I know the Jags have played them tight over the year. Last year they played them tight, but you have the Hurricane Harvey special magic going on. J.J. Watt's healthy. You got Clowney. I believe in Tom Savage. I think Tom Savage will be just fine. I do not believe in Blake Bortles. I think that Leonard Fournette is going to rush for like fucking 52 yards if he's lucky or something like that. I think it's going to be a tough game for the Jacksonville Jaguars here. I like the Texans. I'll lay the 5. Bill O'Brien, 19-2 straight up. Last 21 is a favorite, 15-5-2 against the spread, 10-1 straight up. Last 11 against division teams. Give me the Houston Texans. Good survivor pick right there, too. I'm taking the Bills. I got the Bills in a couple of survivors, actually. I think the Bills win. I think the Bills cover. I can't say it's a best bet because it's the Buffalo Bills laying 8 points, but I do think the Bills probably win by about 17. They're going to win like 27-10, 23-10, 20-6, you know. I think they'll beat them. They have too much talent. Even though the Bills are the Bills, they have LaShawn McCoy, Tyrod Taylor, Jordan Matthews, Charles Clay, Zay Jones. The Bills' offensive line is good. They've got talent. Trey White's a fucking stud, the defensive back they drafted out of LSU. The Bills will win this game. The Bills won't win a lot of games this year, but this will be one of them that they do. I like the Tennessee Titans to win. Minus 145. I don't want to lay the 3. I wouldn't be surprised if they won by 1 or 2. It's going to be a close game, I think. The total is 50.5. I like the over in this game. And like I said, I'm going to tease the over to 43.5 with over 41 in the Arizona-Detroit game. I like the Washington Redskins plus 1 to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't understand why the Eagles are favored here. I get it. They signed Alshon Jeffrey. All right. The Browns and the Steelers. I'm not in a hurry to lay 9 points, but I'll have the Steelers and money in a 3-team 7-point teaser plus 140. The Atlanta Falcons, the Buffalo Bills, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Early games, 3-team 7-point teaser pays plus 140. That's better than doing it on the money line. All right? Better than doing it on the money line. We're getting plus money, and none of these teams aren't losing. The Falcons aren't losing to the Bears. The Steelers aren't losing to the Browns, and the Bills aren't going to lose to the Jets. 3-team 7-point teaser at plus money. This Rams-Colts game, I don't want any part of it. Fuck. I'm not biting. I'm not laying 4.5 at the Rams, and I'm not interested in taking Tolzien and the Colts. I do like the San Francisco 49ers +5. I like the Seattle Seahawks. Upset special. They beat them outright on the money line. Game goes over the number. Seattle wins outright. Seattle's winning the Super Bowl this year, 9-10-1. You heard it here first. Seattle wins Super Bowl 52. New York Giants, Dallas Cowboys. We'll be on Sunday morning with Donnie anyways, going over these games. But Giants and Cowboys. But I'll have more of my props and my best bets loaded up. I'll have a bunch of props. You can get Justin Tucker long field goal now, Cincinnati and Baltimore game, over 40 in a motherfucking half, which is great value over at Bet365. College football, we just talked college ball with Big Man on campus. I'm not going to force things tomorrow. I do agree with his Army pick. I think Army will beat up on Buffalo. I think Michigan destroys Cincinnati. We'll lay the points. One of my bigger bets of the day tomorrow afternoon will be the Ville and North Carolina over 63. Over 63. I don't see how that game's going to stay under the number 63. I'm going to lay the fucking 5 points with Rutgers because I'm a dangerous, suicidal motherfucker. I'm going to lay the 5 points with Rutgers. I want to take Fresno. I told you, man. Nick Saban's 1-9 against the spread the last 10 times. He's laid more than 28 points to a non-conference opponent. It's a dangerous one, though, and I'm not rich enough to do it. But I'm going to take a shot with Rutgers. I don't believe that Eastern Michigan can beat them. I like Middle Tennessee State plus the 10.5. I agree. I like the Middle Tennessee State play. I love the Clemson Tigers. I'm going to lay the 5 with Clemson tomorrow night. I'm going to lay the 7.5 with Oklahoma State. I'm going to go over the number, Ohio State, excuse me. I'm going to go over the number with Ohio State and Oklahoma, over 63.5. I'm going to go over the number, New Mexico State and New Mexico. I'm tempted by Stanford and USC, but we don't have to bet every side. I'm going to bet the over in that game, 55. Upset special. San Diego State wins on the money line against Arizona State. And I stand by it, man. I don't care. It's already moved half a point. I was getting 10.5 a fucking minute ago. Now it's down to 10. Washington State should not be favored by 10 points against Boise State. I don't care. I know Boise State are pedestrian. I get it. But Washington State aren't that good. They're overhyped because Mike Leach does good interviews. Luke Falk puts up big numbers. He's a system quarterback. He won't be shit in the NFL. All right? Boise State hang around in this game. I think Boise State hang around in that game. Give me the 10 points. Give me the double-digit points. I think San Diego State are going to beat Arizona State outright. Stanford and USC, I'm just going to bet the over 55 in that game. We can't forget, I agree with Babano. I like the Roadrunners plus the 15.5 against Baylor. And I don't see why Roadrunners and Baylor don't get over 58 points either. Fuck, Liberty went up and down the field on these guys. Liberty. Give me Liberty or give me death. Liberty. Liberty went up and down the field on them. Yeah, the Roadrunners will do the same thing. They'll be able to hang. Baylor will probably win a close game, maybe. But there's my college picks. And I'm going to lock down more college picks tomorrow morning live on the Fantasy Sports Network and the Dish Television Network. Dish Television Network, I'll be on at 10:40 a.m. in the morning. I'll be on again at 11:40 a.m. in the morning. And there's no rest for the wicked tomorrow night. Sports Rage, private. I guess I can get away with Sports Rage, even though I own it in a private setting on Patreon. Tomorrow night, it'll just be me bitching and telling stories for 4 hours. And we'll see you guys Sunday morning. I'll be with Donnie Rightside at noon right here, kicking it with the big man Sunday night. Ton of videos over the Fantasy Sports Network YouTube page. Thanks for tuning in tonight, guys. You guys fucking rock. I hope you guys crush the fucking book. If you're looking for a book, go over to sportsbookreview.com. Click one of the books. Support the sponsors. Keep the shows going. SBR doing some great work. I appreciate it, Chris Edge. Good to see you again. Thanks, Vig Simon. Good to see you, brother. Loretti, Ian Cameron, Ash, Rob Job. Rob Job. Dexter in the house. Bobby Brown. Thanks, Bobby Brown. MMA Cashing Bets, Tom Marino, Odessa, Nate Brooks, Sheldon, Cree Boy. What up, Cree Boy? Thanks for the kind words, man. Ryan Gilbert, appreciate the kind words. T-Bone. I would say Ralphie, but I thought Ralphie was hating on me the other night. That always happens. People hate on me, and then they become big fans. So, Sana, Jazz, Kevin White, Mohammed, and everybody else in the chat. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks to Zach Jones, Cynthia, Deb, and everybody over at SBR. Check me out tomorrow morning on the Dish Network. Follow me on Twitter at Sports Rage. Other than that, you're on your own. Later. May the winners be yours.